What's going on, guys? Sithis here. What's going on? It is KingSithis. Today is Sunday? Monday? Now
KingSithis
it's Monday
is now live streaming World of Warcraft. 1000 YouTube sub special Wooooop.
Yeah. So, I think I need to read. All right, let's reveal my page real quick and type something.
FFFF.
And tools. Ah, there we go. Okay, there we go. We fixed that. So, I made it to 1,000 subscribers today. Hopefully, nobody mass unsubscribes and makes it so that I am no longer at 1,000 subscribers. But today, I am celebrating. I am pretty damn happy to say that I am finally at 1,000 subscribers. It was quite a long journey, and I finally made it. After many debates, after many YouTube videos, writing many scripts. You know, and I wouldn't be here, of course, if it wasn't for you guys. Honestly, it's been really, really awesome. I just hope that I go up from here. I feel like as I learn more about anarcho-capitalism, I just agree with it more and more. I feel like there was a lot that I wasn't 100% with when I first started, and now I'm more like, I feel like I'm more have a better understanding of everything, and because of that, I can say I can confidently say I'm more, I guess, devoted, you could say. But I agree with it a lot. You know what I mean? Also, I'm chilling with my friend William over here. We are in the my Discord today because I just wanted to hang out, do some live streaming. Anyways, William, anything you wanted to say?
Congrats on getting 1,000K for sure.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. My latest video, hopefully,
I did already
gets more views.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I did already say before you started the live stream, but yeah, it's like, I was saying, like, you know, I did definitely say thank you for congratulations on the 1K for, you know, before the live stream, but yeah, it was definitely good to re-say it. Yeah.
Yes, 1,000 subscribers.
Grok's working again.
Who could have ever thought?
Yeah.
Let's get a dungeon going. Let's hopefully we pop into one.
Yep. Yeah.
And yeah.
It's great news.
Pretty good news, honestly. I'm just pretty much chilling. I don't really got much else going on with my life. Honestly, I've just been working. I've just been doing DoorDash a lot. You know, I am coming out with a new video soon. It's gonna be on why democracy doesn't make you free. And soon that'll be coming out. I think that video is probably gonna be like 10 minutes long. You know? And if that one does good, I think I'm gonna try making more like shorter style videos like that. Except for like autistically focusing on one subject, like I've been doing lately. Like on my landlord's video, I kind of autistically focused on that one subject. It ended up turning out good. You know?
Yeah, it's important to do that. Like, I mean, there are things where I could probably like write a thing. A thing I've looked at something I've only looked into a little bit, but as a general rule, you know, the best work comes from doing a lot of research. You know, it's important to engage the empirical data after all.
Yeah, it's been well, empirical data. Ugh. Yay.
I was waiting for the reaction there, but
Kind of lame.
you don't like that,
but no, like, you know, in the end of the day, my claims have to stand on their own 2 feet. Like, I can't just be like, well, this one study says, so therefore it must be true. Like,
yeah, you wouldn't want to do one study. That's why, for example, like I could write an article on one topic, but I'm like, I've only read like a couple of studies, and I need to read more than that. I need to do a deep dive. Like, granted, one of the study did a pretty decent overview of the literature, and it was really, really good, but I still need to read a lot more into it in order to really publish a good article. And there's another topic where it's like I've read like you're probably around 10, and it's like, or not studies, but like articles, academic articles. I need, and they're disproportionately to one side, so I need to read more. Yeah, I definitely.
well, we could all read more,
I mean,
right?
Yeah,
but I think you're pretty smart, bro.
It's important to read like a decent. Thank you, I appreciate that. I'm just saying, it's like I recognize, like, it's like I don't want to like if I only read a little bit to one side, it's like, yeah, I've technically read the other side, but like it's not enough. Like if I was going to write a detailed critique of communism, I've already read the Communist Manifesto. I want to read not only more of Marx, I want to read other thinkers, other commenters, other defenders of Marx. I mean, I've read a little bit. Like I don't know anywhere near enough to have like a serious discussion on communism. That's actually someone who like knows a lot about it, or to write an article really talking much about communism, just because it's not something I'm like familiar enough with. So yeah, like I would have to spend a lot of time researching the topic. I wouldn't just like read the Communist Manifesto and then go and like act like I know everything about what communists believe. I'd be like, no, I'm gonna need to like, and also there are other forms of, you know, communism, even like form variants of like Marxism. So, you know, again, there are the different theories. So yeah, it'd be hard to like.
Well, to be fair, I did try to like steelman the opposite view a bit. You know what I mean? Much as I could. But you know, I'm biased.
Yeah.
Of course, I can't hide that.
Yeah, everyone is. Yeah.
I can't help it.
Yeah. The key thing is to focus and try to minimize the bias and be aware of the bias and so on and so forth. Be aware of your own limitations. It's a very important aspect. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be. I've talked about numerous times. I'm working on one of the articles. You know, I've been mentioning for a little bit, and it's, you know, it's a history thing. It's not really a study-related thing, but I'm like, I've done a lot of reading. Let's just put it that way. There's a lot of sources.
Well, you gotta put that big brain to use,
man. The bibliography is nearly a page long. Yeah, it's currently in the link form, so with one title. But yeah, it's the article. The article in a Google Doc is not even 3/4 done, and it's including the bibliography, 20 pages. At 20 pages, even just words wise. So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty long article. It's probably going to be the longest Substack I've written. It's almost certainly going to be the longest Substack I've written so far. And yeah, it's going to be it's full of quotes. It's full of detailed information. And yeah, it's going to be a good thing. Hopefully I'll get a good rating from Grok on it once I have him look at it once I publish it. But usually I have AI do the bibliography. Like actually like formalize the bibliography, and then I have like maybe I hunt down for like specific like sources or what have you in some cases, but that's not generally my use of AI. And then I have the AI always like I asked Grok, what do you think of this article? I send the link, then Grok does an evaluation and maybe like respond to some of the things Grok said. But yeah, that's the ultimate kind of end goal.
Hey, somebody else joined.
Hey, Cameron.
Hey, Cam, what's up, man? I'm at 1,000 subs.
Hey, let's go.
Hell yeah. It's 1,000 subscriber special. Also, I'm live.
Of course.
Hell yeah.
What's the, her? Oh. Wait, why is the pick just called General? Wait, what server are we even in?
Oh, we're in the KingSithis Discord.
Okay.
Why, you want to go debate people, or?
No, I was popping in. My phone's about to die and I'm not near a charger, so, I was just popping in for a second.
Yeah, no problem. Honestly, I'm just chilling.
Yeah. What's going on, William?
Hello.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Doing pretty well. Just, was, working on something.
You know what? I'm
Another
just really
article?
happy that I am
Doc?
at 1,000 subscribers. You know?
Yeah, you should be.
Just how,
How long did that take?
I don't know.
What'd you
Probably
say?
years, many years. I've been many years.
Hey, well, there you go.
Hell yeah.
There you go hit. I mean,
I'm really happy, not gonna lie. Pretty
Wow.
lit. I'm celebrating by playing some World of Warcraft. Taking a day off early. Enjoying life. And yeah, just hanging out. And hopefully if somebody talks to me in the chat, you know, I'll talk to them back. But I haven't done a normal live stream where I'm not like debating somebody in a while.
let's see.
Maybe I should do a live stream where I just play video games and call it like I'm addicted to World of Warcraft or something like that. I used to.
That's how you doing right now?
No, I put it as 1,000 subscribers special.
So that makes it unique. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah. Soon I'll be done with my next video. And then yeah. Did you watch my last debate or at all, or
With First Amender?
any of my recent debates?
No, not like the full video.
Gotcha. William, you?
I saw I saw most of the whole fascism debate.
What do you think of that one?
Oh, that one too. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the what's it called? The one what was the thing? The fascists mainly focused on argumentation ethics, and they focused on some other issue as well. What was the other thing they focused on? Oh, was there some kind
Dog
of like
rape.
dog thing or something?
Dog rape.
Yeah, I thought there was some issue with like, I think I understood what the conceptual confusion between you and the fascist was with the dog thing. The fascist was saying, unlike you, because like your position would be that, okay, you know, if someone's abusing their dog heavily, and you were to like forcibly intervene, you would think that's a violation of the NAP, whereas they would think, even though they don't think the government necessarily bans certain immoral activities, they think you could like, or if your friend is drinking, I think that's the example they used, then they think it's okay for an individual to go and like stop them. They just think the government shouldn't because of some necessity of people being able to choose between virtue and vice. That includes individuals going and helping people. Apparently doesn't include members of the government for whatever reason, but whatever. It's not. It's a bizarre position. I think there was actually a distinct disagreement.
It didn't seem to
Yeah, it
land
was an
with
arbitrary
them.
rationale.
it didn't seem to land with them at all. I think it was because the guy was drunk at the end. I'll be very honest. I think he was kind of drinking towards the end. You could kind of tell he was slurring his words. He was very interruptive, very argumentative. And at the end, I was just trying to be very, like, I wasn't trying to argue with them at all. I'm too argumentative. I was just trying to make the basic point, like, listen, like, you could disagree with what people do. Like, they said that, I said that the non-aggression principle is a legal principle, and they told me that they didn't believe me. And then I was just like, well, fundamentally, like, non-aggression principle only applies to the law because, it doesn't tell you whether or not you ought be allowed to cheat on your wife or not cheat on your wife, right? Or lie or not lie, right?
What did they say it was, if not that?
Yeah. Well, they
say
they believe that it's a like, if I believe, they were trying to say that if I say that it's okay to rape a dog and legal, that I must personally believe it also. And I was trying to explain that I could personally think that something is disgusting and somebody shouldn't do something.
Is like a broader moral principle, or
yes,
what?
essentially, and that I was lying. And then I was just trying to explain to them, and I was like, listen, guys, like, I'm trying to explain to you, like, yeah, I think that having sex with your dog is fucking disgusting, and I think it's wrong, right? But at the same time, I also respect property rights, and I think that people should be allowed to do what they want with their property. So no, I don't think they should be stopped. I could have those two beliefs at the same time. And then I tried to use the alcohol example. I asked him, I was like, okay, let's say you have a friend that's drinking a lot of alcohol, right? Do you think that's wrong? Like, do you think what he's doing is wrong, right? And then he said yes. And I was like, okay, well, do you think the government should come in and stop that person from doing that? And he said no. And I was like, okay, well, then you agree with me. That's a situation where you may not agree with what that person is doing, but legally you wouldn't stop them because you understand they have the right to do what they're doing, And
so they heard that distinction, like, because in that example, like, they noted, or they know that they realize that, like, there's a distinction between how you think that could play out legally and then your, like, personal opinion on the matter.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're trying to act like
they said they didn't believe me when I kept trying to tell them over and over again, but they told me that no, I don't believe you, and I'm lying, and that I'm lying.
Right, they could have just, like,
and I was like, there's no way. I was like, you guys must be, like, drunk or something, because there's no way. Like, it's like I couldn't be more clear with it. Now I get I screwed up with the argumentation ethics in the beginning, but I get the overall point I was trying to make was still true, in that, the non-aggression principle is true, and that self-ownership is sort of like axiomatic. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. I think
the way I displayed it was incorrect.
Way I would have.
Sorry. Continue. Sorry.
In regards to the whole, I agree that your frame of argumentation was ethics was incorrect. That's not the point I'm actually trying to make right now.
Yeah.
But in regards to the whole, like, dog thing of the alcohol thing, I think the most important thing that the guy needed to understand is that in the libertarian sort of see it as like a subset of ethics, like an ethics of, like, how laws should be made, as well as, like, when it's acceptable to use violence and respond to it in the first place. That's more of a better way of, like, putting it. Or I suppose, like, interference with the possessions and, like, persons of other people. That's the like, direct forceful interference. That's the question of, like, what it addresses. It doesn't address questions like, okay, is it moral or immoral for people to, I don't know, get super drunk or, like, watch pornography or what?
I said, like, cheat on your wife. That's the example that I used. Like, I don't know. That's something generally most people think is not right.
Like,
yeah. Well, they were fascists, so I assumed that they.
If you hold to.
They were fascists, so I assumed that they were,
Hard to say.
I mean, I could be wrong.
I mean, I under, like, if you hold more of Walter Block's view on contract rather than Rothbard's, you could possibly argue that it might be consistent with libertarianism to actually criminalize adultery in certain cases. But if both parties agree to said criminalization. But under the standard, like, Rothbardian kind, no. You would not be able to argue that.
I'm not sure how you can argue for that. I would have to listen to that article. But, yeah, I'm open.
I'm saying Walter Block thinks you can sell yourself into absolute slavery.
I heard what you said.
Presumably you could agree to you could make an agreement, an enforceable agreement. Yeah, that would, like, let's say you can't go sleep with someone other than your partner. I would assume that's a much milder contract, but that then over, like, that controls, like, your own body. Then some Block was when I was watching him. I was actually watching Block debate David Horowitz on reparations. It's like it was ridiculous. Really? Because, like, Horowitz apparently hadn't read the article Block had made responding to him like 10 years before the debate, and like acted and like apparently he had just never even like read and just like acted like, and when he had his opening statement he acted like Block was some like left-wing advocate of reparations and apparently did not realize that, like, it was about individuals, and they ended up basically agreeing because there wasn't anything to disagree about.
Yeah, that's the one thing that, like, I noticed with a lot of ANCAP debates is, like, a lot of people go into it with a lot of assumptions about us, and then when they talk to us, they get to know what we actually believe, and then they are like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Then they kind of have to backpedal a little bit, you know? Yeah.
Well, yeah, like, most of the arguments people make against ANCAPs are just straw man.
Very much so.
Or they're like the beliefs of, like, people who are, like, baby ANCAPs, or people who don't really understand, like, libertarian theories. Like, I've heard people who've, like, said, like, you know, they've heard libertarians argue that the Native Americans' land wasn't stolen, it was conquered, which is a very anti-libertarian view. I think I heard one person who was a libertarian say that a long time ago, but she later used a different line of argumentation addressing that topic, so it wasn't like, you know, I think that was just like a specific inconsistency issue, with, but like, yeah, I mean,
but no, yeah, you're right. People hear things that, like, some crazy ANCAP has said, and then they attribute that to every ANCAP. You know what I mean? Or they watch like an interview or a person who doesn't understand it very much, but then they say they represent it. And then they, you know, say wild things, and then they attribute that to us, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I mean, I'm not an ANCAP myself, but like I don't like the fact that a lot of people strawman the heck out of it. I mean, it's like, or like, I mean, another more extreme example would be like Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand is strawman horribly, and I don't agree with Rand's views at all. But like. But not all. There's some points I agree with, but I don't generally agree with, like, the basic philosophy of objectivism pretty much in most areas. But like, I still recognize, like, people. I've heard people, like, this one later article by an ex-objectivist I read like a long time ago, like years and years ago, was saying that, you know, that like Ayn Rand would teach, like, your kids to never like share toys with other kids, and I'm like, what? That's not what Rand would claim at all. Rand would say that you shouldn't be, you know, sharing toys for the sake of sacrificing your well-being or helping them itself. It should be more of like a, hey, trying to build a mutually beneficial agreement or what have you, whether it's to trade, like, you know, toy-related value for toy-related value, or like friendship or what have you. Or if it's, and so on, and then if a kid takes advantage of you, you shouldn't be, like, continuing to let them, like, you know, do that in the future. That's what Rand would teach, not that, you know, you should never share your toys with other kids. That's such a ridiculous, like, laughable, like, straw man of Rand's views. And it's like, yeah, this former objectivist didn't actually understand what objectivists believe, and I've never been an objectivist, and I knew pretty quickly on by reading Rand that that's not what she believed. Or reading what objectivists who are, like, very highly associated with her say. I have read The Virtue of Selfishness, but her book, but it's just like, yeah, it's irritating when people are, like, so blatantly strawmanning what they say. It's like, I mean, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
It's kind of like what First Amender did after my debate, where he was going around, oh my god, KingSithis thinks it's okay to kill people who step on my tulips, because, whatever.
That's like the dumbest. This goes for like so many things like that people think about like ANCAP, like like more radical libertarians generally, but like it's just like the dumbest straw man's, like especially like when people don't understand, like it gets kind of nuanced, but like people don't really seem to understand how like proportionality functions in terms of defense, and they're like they end up thinking like, oh, if someone steps in your lawn you can like snipe them immediately. It's like, no, not really.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no nuance. It's all just like, oh, you know, it's always like the most extremes.
It's a stereotype.
Yeah, it's a stereotype. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw like I've seen people who are like often left wing who are just like stereotyping libertarians like these like people who just like basically want to go around like shooting trespassers and like, you know, they want to grow marijuana like and have all the advanced military guns and then shoot anyone who comes in. It's like that's not exactly what ANCAPs believe. Whether they're like, you know, the more gentlest means necessary type or like the more sheer proportionality type of, you know, NAP or self-defense opponent, whether they advocate one or the other. Typically, it's not as simple as, oh, you can just, like, if a toddler comes in and steps on your stuff, you can just go and knock on, or even if an intelligent adult
blow him up with your McNuke
goes in and like steps on your stuff. Not how it works. Yeah, it's exactly. It's ridiculous. It's like,
yeah,
that's not how. That's not what they believe.
I can't blow up a baby that stepped on my property with a McNuke. Oh, come on. I'm just joking.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, or they say, well, one guy also said that like that he thought that pro-lifers were like libertarians because, you know, oh, it's not, they're not like, you know, so like holding the view of women as like the same way like the antebellum South did of African Americans, but no, he's saying oh yeah, they view them as like at least in part the property of men. And I'm like, do you have no idea how libertarians think about property? The whole whether you're reading Rand or whether you're reading Rothbard or what have you, they're in, or Hoppe, Block, whatever. If you read what they're saying, the big emphasis is on having non-contradictory rights, where you can resolve conflicts in a stable way. So no, you're not going to have partial ownership. Libertarians hate that concept. And again, the fact that you don't know that indicates you haven't done basically any
like, yeah, like you don't even know the basics of the basics.
You just have a stereotype in your head.
Yeah, like one time I was talking to somebody and they said the most wildest shit to me. They were like, well, KingSithis, you know, you're a Rothbardian, right? So let's say I lock my child in a closet. Like, would you have the right to? I mean, and I would have the right to starve it, right? And I was just like, no, you would not have the right to starve a child on your property. Like, where the fuck do you get this shit from? Like what the fuck? Where the fuck do you get this shit from? Like,
I think they conflate like the Rothbardian idea that like you don't have technically any positive obligations to your children, with like, oh, you can just like do something like that. It's like, well, there's a difference between like you don't have an obligation to your children and you can do something like that. That situation, that like an aggression.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah, like.
That's like a misunderstanding thing.
It's just like, bro, where the hell does that even come from? Like, like I kind of get where it's coming from, but I'm just like, dude, come on, like, think for a minute. Like, do you really think we think that? Like, come on.
And yeah, there are tons of like reductios you can make about ANCAPs that ANCAPs actually believe, but like, that's not one of them.
Or there was one Dark
like,
Carl Mark asked me, he was like, oh, if a woman has a contract to have sex with you and she backs out of you, you would have the right to rape her under ANCAP, right? And I was like, no, what? What? What would make you think
Block
that?
would actually, if the contract was phrased right, Block would say that, and he has specifically said that before, but that's not a mainstream ANCAP
Well,
view.
I'm not...
So it's not a complete straw man ANCAP.
Say.
There are some ANCAPs who do hold that.
That's not what I would say.
I know you wouldn't, but I'm saying some ANCAPs do hold that view.
I feel like that's a little wild.
It's not a complete... If there are some people who hold a view, you can't 100% say it's completely a straw man.
I don't know,
Dude,
bro. I feel like that's
Cameron,
kind of wild,
right?
dude.
But they wouldn't say
What's
it's
up,
rape. They
Anchor
would just say,
Doggo?
like,
Hey,
Got 1,000 subscribers today, man. What do you have to say?
Congrats.
Hell yeah. It's all with all of you guys' help, of course. But mostly me.
all you. It's all you, bro.
I'll take 99% of the credit and... Anyways. But, yeah, some people come up with some
the
wild
government
fucking
helped
shit.
like fund the infrastructure you needed in order to, you know, make that video, so you have to pay taxes on it.
Bro, I have a negative income on this job, on this YouTube here. I spend money on my YouTube channel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't make money off of this shit. I spend money on this shit right now.
I know I'm trolling.
Yeah, you know what I'm
being,
saying? Like, so I have a,
sarcastically,
the
like-
government should be, I don't know. What would that be considered? Like,
paying you taxes,
yeah, give me
negative income tax.
a negative income tax. You're doing bad at your business
I believe
tax.
Milton Friedman advocated that.
Shit.
I have to look into exactly what it involves, but I think it would fit into that.
He's trying to be
category.
like Liquid Zulu. He
Yeah,
says
Milton
he makes
Friedman
money on
advocated
his
negative
channel.
income tax.
Bro.
Huh?
I talked to Ask and AdCap today. And, you know, we're cool now.
What'd you ask?
Well, I didn't ask him anything. I was just...
Oh. I thought you meant, like, you went on the show.
No. I, like, he messaged me.
Oh, shit.
And then he came into the Discord, my Discord, and then he showed me that he subscribed to me. And then I said, and then he showed me that
Was
I
he the
got
1,000th
yeah, he was the
subscriber?
one. He was literally the 1,000th
Let's
subscriber.
go.
I could literally show it. It was pretty crazy.
Holy shit.
Oh fuck! I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
Hey, that's like,
Never
what do you
mind.
call that? It's like canonical and chapel or some shit.
Yeah, bro.
Nice.
I am so screwed right now. My character is gonna die. Yep. Anyways. But, yeah. That last debate that I had, I definitely won that debate 100%. Those guys were drunk as shit. Couldn't understand a single thing that I was saying. Even though I may have fumbled it a little, what I was trying to say, I think you guys get the heart.
I think, even like, well, I'd have to like review it to like see exactly where you may have gone wrong. But like, if they were saying that you were lying about the NAP being a legal principle, that's a complete blunder on their end. Like,
Oh yeah, they said that I was lying about that. Which was, and I just kept trying to like tell them. I was like, listen, like, it's just a legal principle. That's it. And they just did not believe me. I don't know. It's kind of dumb. But it is what it is. Also, that debate with the woman was pretty funny too. I kind of left at the end
I have
because I
not
couldn't
watched
handle it.
that yet.
I mean, there was two debates with two women. I had a progressive woman. I forgot her name. I think it was Laura. And she was pretty... She was pretty hard to deal with, I'm not gonna lie. I know Cam was there. You know. Remember? Oh, I don't know if he's here still. But, yeah, she couldn't understand. I was just trying to explain to her the economic calculation problem, and she couldn't understand that. And I was trying to explain to her, you know, how unemployment is how minimum wage causes unemployment. He just like wasn't getting it. Then I was talking about how regulations causes rent prices to go higher, and all that was just like kind of flying over her head. It just was like after the end when she started saying like, oh, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac aren't responsible for the housing crisis, I was just like, yeah, I'm out of here. I mean, technically they weren't responsible, it was the government, but I just didn't feel like going through the whole rigmarole of explaining all of it, so I was just like tapped out because I just felt like she wouldn't understand it.
Yeah.
Trying to explain concepts that are a little bit complex to people who just aren't very smart is not easy. It requires patience.
Yep.
Patience I otherwise do not have. Damn. I died. I keep getting distracted by my conversation here, but anyways, all I can say is that I'm happy as shit.
I'm also multitasking.
Yeah, I'm no, you're good. I died in the video game, so that's why I'm saying I got distracted. But yeah. Fundamentally, I am a follower of the non-aggression principle. I follow the NAP to its logical conclusions no matter what. I believe in argumentation ethics. I think self-ownership is an axiom at this point. In the sense that it's basically kind of like the action axiom, you know what I mean? Where it proves itself, essentially. A person can't deny that they have self-ownership while acting, because if they act, then they're choosing to use their body. And if they choose to use their body, then they're basically claiming they have the right to their body. So, in trying to argue that you don't have the right to your body, you would be in a performative contradiction. Kind of like the action axiom, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, maybe just to like challenge that, like, you can like, it can be the case that like you have to presuppose in acting that you have a right to act, or that you have a right to control your body, right? But I'm not really sure like how that gets you to like, therefore individuals own themselves.
well, if you can't, in argumentation, like if we, to try to disprove that you don't own yourself, would to act, which would then argue that you own yourself in that action, that would be like a performative contradiction. So then the opposite must be true, that you do own yourself.
Wait, you're saying that in acting you have to accept self-ownership?
Well, yeah. Because if you don't believe you had the right to use your body, like, why would you use it?
Well, I'm just saying that, like, how do I formulate this? I'm saying that, like, as I just said,
I could be wrong about this, but let me know. Like,
this is kind of like, I guess this is kind of the same like reasoning as argumentation.
Not how Hoppa does that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be like, how do I put it? So, okay, like you're saying like you have to presuppose, you have to like presuppose self-ownership, in virtue of you acting, because
in order to act, you have to use your body. And if you're using your body, that presupposes that you believe you ought to have the right to use it. Because if you didn't believe you had the right to use it, you would not use it. So it's like if you're choosing to use like like I said in the earlier debate. Hold on, give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm doing something in the video game. So what I was going to say was in the debate, I was kind of telling the guys, I was trying to explain to the guys, I was like, listen guys, like, you're using your body right now, which tells me that of the two choices in front of you, there's choice A and B. You could either not use your body, choose not to use your body, lay flat, or use your body, which means that right now you're choosing to use your body, which means that you believe in self-ownership. You believe you ought to have the right to be using your body because you're using it. And you're choosing to use your body when you have the option not to. So you're basically, if you're gonna say while using your body that you don't have the right to use your body, that would be a performative contradiction. Yeah, that's it.
You believe... Okay. Wait, hold on. Let me try and think of a response to this. You're just saying, like, simply put that, one... It could be like this. Like, one must believe that they own their body, given that they act. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they were to, like,
accept.
propose... like, oh, I don't own my body.
Okay,
Self-ownership as a concept, it does not exist. They would be in a performative contradiction because in order to express that idea, they have to use their body.
Yeah, I understand that. They must accept it.
What a bunch of idiots.
But like,
Not
like,
you.
wait. No, yeah, like,
Just tell me where you think I'm wrong.
I guess
You're
like
fine.
here, I'm trying to. No, I'm just trying to figure out like an exact way to like, because this like relates
thinking
back to
about
my
it.
issues with argumentation ethics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, like I have a reductio. This kind of related to something I was thinking about before. It's like, I think it's a reductio. It's like, what if, no, okay, like, because you propose like a dilemma to them, right? Which is like either you act and you control your body or you just lay down and die. And the idea is that in virtue of them doing the former, they have to presuppose that they own themselves. But like, what if someone did choose to just like lay down and do nothing, essentially, right? Like at that point, like they, how would you put it? It's like they would not seemingly be. I don't know, like if you would
They're
think
not in
about that as them,
contradiction,
like.
No.
Okay, so yeah, so if someone did just lay down and did, okay, they wouldn't be in a performative contradiction, but
No.
they would still own themselves, right? But they would still, like someone
only
just.
is
Wait,
only
I really
when
question-
they choose to act. If so far as you choose to act, but everyone chooses to act. So far as
I'm
you
talking
choose,
about specifically the situation where the person like lays down and. I mean, I would kind of understand this differently, but how you seem to be framing it is that like if you lay down, like and just you're kind of doing nothing, right? You're not really acting.
I'm not sure you can just give up your right to your body as soon.
No, I agree with that.
Because I mean, you could. I mean, when I give the example of lay down, I mean, I'm merely stating that you're making a choice when you're acting. Now, I'm not saying if you just were to lay down, you just lose your body, right to your body. I'm merely just stating that you're choosing to act when you could otherwise not. You're making a choice. That's the distinction there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So like even if you were to lay down and do nothing, you would still be the owner of your body. I mean, as so far as you've ever in your let's say like you have a person that is just as soon as they came out of the womb, they've never acted. Like they chose from the womb like, no, I'm never gonna act. Like, they made a conscious decision. Then maybe you could make an argument there, but I don't think that would be possible. I think everyone.
WTH is he saying LOL?
I don't know. I think I'm kind of getting what you're saying though. You're kind of onto something though. Like, I get what you're saying.
No, I don't know how
Keep
exactly
going.
to formulate this with regard to self-ownership, but I was writing something about argumentation ethics, and I realized that like it has a similar issue. So I came up with this like hypothetical.
Hey, just want to say, I'm in my Discord server, so if any of you guys want to pop in, say hello. Say hello. Be sure to, pop in. This is the 1000 KingSithis special. All right, continue, Cam.
Very good. I won't go over. I mean, I guess I won't go over right now.
Whatever you want. Honestly, I don't really care.
I guess I kind of want to focus on self-ownership though, but this is kind of related. Like,
sure.
What I'm trying to get at is this idea that like, if we, because what I'm kind of trying to do with that whole hypothetical I gave, where like, what if someone actually did just like, I guess like stop acting or whatever,
or chose
like,
not to act.
I think there might be like, I like with that framing, I'm kind of like hesitant to like, I'm kind of hesitant to go with that framing
because there might be something there. You're trying to say?
No, I think the framing of like, oh, they chose to stop acting. I'm not even sure that makes sense, because that seems like in that case they'd still be acting, but we can just set that aside for now. We can just imagine somehow they stopped acting. Then it would be like we're removing the performative contradiction issue, right? So if this person is not acting or whatever, somehow.
It's just I'm not sure it would be possible to remove the contradiction, because we can't help but act, right? Like.
No, but we're imagining that if the point is like, if we're removing the action part, and then that would seem to consequently remove any sort of like performative contradiction objection, because like in that case they wouldn't be performatively contradicting themselves, right?
No, at that point, no, because they wouldn't be acting. The
performative
contradiction would be
but yeah.
I guess the performative contradiction would come in at the like the ethics. Like if I say,
yeah, if they deny that they own
if they deny it
right?
while using it, that would be the performative contradiction. But you cannot, like, I can't possibly see how you could deny it without using your body.
Yeah, no, yeah,
like
but
maybe unless it would be possible somehow. Maybe, I'm not sure.
What I'm trying to get at, I guess I should rewrite this, but what I'm trying to get at is that like, if we have this person who like somehow like isn't acting, we can't really like, so they're not like denying that they own themselves or anything, but like we can't really like talk of like performative contradiction there, because like there just is none to be found, right? Because they're not like denying that they own themselves, nor are they like really doing anything.
Well,
but then
their
it's like,
will isn't known. Unless like we would
how would
we be able to decipher their will if they're not able to
like use their
body?
I see this question like yeah.
That's like what I would say.
But like would you say that this person still owns themselves, even provided like the stipulations of the hypothetical?
If they've never used their own body?
No, just that like somehow they stop like acting, but like they're not like
if they've
dead,
acted
I guess.
If they've acted before, then them not acting now would not take that away. I think they would still be the owner.
But why would they still be the owner, though?
Well, because they are still in possession of their own body.
Sithis, the entire approach you're taking isn't argumentation ethics. Actions are not propositional. In order for there to be a contradiction, there has to be a proposition you're either presupposing or saying implicitly, or that's contradicting what you're saying. So the specific subset of actions Hoppe uses is argumentation, hence the phrase argumentation ethics. Hoppe explicitly in the economics and ethics of private property rejects the theory that you can derive rights from action alone. What do you? Sorry about that. What he argues is that The contradiction is if you were to claim that to verbally argue for that it's justified to violate the NAP, that is a contradiction because when you're arguing, you have to presuppose people have control over their body and so on and so forth. And they have the right to not be interfered with. Otherwise, you are and if you were to argue that it is acceptable to violate that, you are violating the norms you are presupposing while arguing. If you were to not say anything and you were to just, like, for example, go fight people like an animal and not try to defend it, you wouldn't be performatively contradicting yourself. Other people like Stefan Kinsella and Frank Van Dunn who commented on Hoppe, and Kinsella in particular has been approved by Hoppe in regards to this topic. They've explicitly made very clear that that is the case, that it's not a performative contradiction to take actions that violate people's rights. That's not an issue as long as you don't defend it. If you argue that it's acceptable to violate rights, that's the problem.
Yeah, but that's not what I said. I said if you were to argue that you don't have the self-ownership while using your own body, because argumentation requires the use of your body to choose to use your body when you could otherwise not. Wouldn't that conclude that person, if they were to argue that they don't own their body while arguing, wouldn't that make it like be a performative contradiction?
I mean, that's close to the traditional form of it. But the way you phrase it sounded like you were saying, like, that if a person was acting, they would be presupposing that they're a self-owner, and it's like, well, it's not really propositional. The issue would be if they're arguing verbally, that would be, or otherwise they have to actually be arguing. That would be when
I feel like I said that. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't clear enough. But what I was trying to,
maybe you did. I don't know.
Maybe I wasn't clear enough. What I was trying to say is, like, if you were to make the argument that you don't own yourself while arguing, which would be presupposing that you own your own body because you're choosing to use your own body, well, then you would be in a performative. It's not like the aggression itself that's the performative contradiction, but the argument that you're making, that is the performative contradiction. Yeah. And if you can't express a ethic without being in performative contradiction, it must be, or sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but just like, then the opposite must be true.
Okay, so the thing I'd say about that is, okay, this, you have to ask, like, why is arguing for aggression against another person, saying that another person, so like, if I'm debating you, why is it a performative contradiction for me to claim that you don't have self-ownership? Well, the reason is because in order for an argument to go through, you would have to have self-ownership. It's like, well, we're arguing.
Well, self-ownership must be a universalizable thing, right? Like, I could just say that, right?
Yeah, the obvious thing would be proving the universalization principle.
Yeah.
Which is something that they could obviously could contend with. Indeed, I'm surprised they didn't contend with. They didn't argue over that one. If I were them, I would have. But yeah, it does require. I sent you an article a while ago about this.
I did read a little bit of some of the articles.
The universalization.
About universalization, or something about
the
that.
Universalizing.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
The universalization principle is, like, Hoppe derives it from, like, a very specific philosophical assumption. I think you can reconstruct them in a somewhat softer way without those assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you're okay.
But
it's allergy season, huh?
Yeah, apologies. I don't know if it's allergies, but that's my problem. But leaving that aside, Hoppe's position on argumentation ethics.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, it just makes sense to me,
is one of the things that has to be
and I can't think of any good arguments against it. So for me, I feel like it just makes sense. Like, I don't know, I just don't. It just makes sense. It just makes too much sense for me to deny it.
I think a version of argumentation ethics does work. Again, though I would classify the distinction between, like, saying that there's an ethic, like, that's more like out there or anything. That's the case. That's not proven by argumentation ethics. Performative contradictions are not necessarily actual contradictions, but, like, you can't, the argument that you can't, like, rationally justify it because you'd be contradicting yourself, and you can't really rationally justify acting in a contradictory way. So that would just be the situation. And honestly, the issue would be, okay, so, like, why is universalization true? Well, Hoppe's basic assumption from his perspective is he holds to this sort of view where epistemic universalism is called, where essentially if you argue with, in order for your argument to be like actually like objectively correct or true or genuinely true, it has to be something that you could at least theoretically do this through an argument involving everyone. It's actually a little bit more of a specific claim than that, but that's how I would reframe it. But like so theoretically, you'd have to be able to like argue with every single person who is motivated solely by like, and they do that. Every single person has to be able to like accept the conclusion as true, based solely on the content of the argument, the validity of the argument, solely on its merits. In other words, and if you make arguments where you like give arbitrary exceptions, that would or only arbitrarily applies to you, or only you and your interlocutor, etc. That's the what's it called? That's where it's not going to work. So if you're going to try to argue that there's an objective way to resolve a conflict, for example, or over whether there is, that is that you kind of have to presuppose norms that would actually require that would apply to everyone, and therefore, you presuppose
can't say
they would therefore have to apply to everyone.
Rules for ye and not for me, because then they could turn that around against ye at any moment, and then like. We're basically back to might makes right at that point, and you know, yeah.
Of course, the other issue you could have is, of course, that is commonly brought up. This was the issue I had with argumentation ethics for a really long time, which is that if I'm arguing with you, the mere fact that I have to not win a debate by, you know, attacking you, or attacking you would just generally interfere with our ability to have a conversation, that itself doesn't prove that it's impossible for me to like rationally defend attacking you outside of the debate, though probably not over what you say during the debate, because of the fact that there are a variety of other things where like, okay, you can't like you can't be asleep while debating, and you can't resolve actual arguments for the most part about like through like sleeping. You can't like resolve a conflict over like what justice or over what the just means of solving something is through sleeping. That's like through some kind of like mutually agreed upon situation, which is a little different. But in general, you can't do that. It's not a valid move in argumentation. That doesn't necessarily follow that it doesn't apply to other cases. So the basic problem, the solution I would make is that like it's actually a little deeper than that. Hoppe kind of makes this more with property. When it comes to like if you were to have a norm where like where everyone owns everything equally, everyone will basically die, and therefore the whole problem of argumentation wouldn't even exist, or resolving conflicts wouldn't even exist. I would just say that should kind of be applied on some level with like attack with persons as well. Like I specifically like if you attack someone, if you have a norm that like you can just generally attack people, or you can make up exceptions, arbitrary exceptions, it's gonna basically lead to problems.
Your rule will be based on that exception. Essentially,
if people are able to basically like go and like attack people whenever they want, or they can like even if they like make specific exceptions, there's an elaborate process for making exceptions. Like theoretically, everyone could make this specific exception, and society would survive. But if everyone can make up their own individual exception, that would pose kind of like a deeper norm, and it would cause basically collapse. Yeah. It would just be like a problem. It would cause, if everyone can do that, that would basically mean there'd be kind of chaos. You wouldn't have the preconditions of like
and in this world, it always
social
leads
trust
to might.
And so on. That would be required.
Whoever has the most might makes the decision, essentially.
Yeah. Well, more direct point is actually more that it would undermine the very preconditions needed to like have a social life that would allow you to talk to people. That's the key thing. Like essentially, if you were to argue, okay, like because theoretically you have to be able to like argue against any challenger who comes up and argues, in order for the argument to be theoretically, as soon as objectively true, you will have to be able to like basically refute any other arguments, at least in theory. So if you were to like, how did I explain this? I had like a very detailed explanation. This is more of my version than Hoppe's version. Like, I gotta reread it at some point.
You gotta become an ANCAP, bro.
Is that if you, I don't think argumentation ethics properly thought through actually does entail ANCAP, unfortunately. But
Whoa.
But I don't think it just
Someone needs
stops
to
at physical
debate.
force. That would be
Someone needs to
prohibited.
debate liquid Wooooop.
But perhaps. I mean, there have been other people who have criticized argumentation ethics. I mean, I'm not technically one of them, but like Liam Divinity has written a whole Substack article where he criticized argumentation. I think this is his most recent Substack. Actually, it came out in 2025. I think mid 2025. But yeah, I read it during the summer of 2025. So yeah, it was, it's been out for almost a year. But yeah, I listened to that to really rethink to my position. I gotta reread exactly what I wrote it down at some place so I can hopefully get the idea. Because it was a combination of like several specific facts that lead to the conclusion that it actually does. Sorry, that it would be like you'd be contradicting the norms you were presupposing by arguing. But yeah, because you don't even though you don't specifically have to actually go out and seek arguments with every single person. But yeah, no, I got it. The argument is that like essentially, if you were to try to argue for an exception, or like that this person or this group of people was what's it called, exempt from the norm, or what have you, you would have to basically you'd have to be able to prove it to them in an argument. You'd have to be able to defeat them in an argument as to like why it's acceptable, and that would basically just not work. Because it would, if you were to make, if anyone theoretically could, you're going to have to be valid for anyone. So if they're not protected, if they could use the same argument against you, then like theoretically, I mean that they'd be able to like attack you, and that would undermine the entire possibility of argumentation working. That's basically sort of why. I'm not sure if I explained that adequately, but yeah, the problem with like this is that like things like blackmail also would undermine that condition as well. That's the basic problem. Not as much as like as some forms of violence would, but like as some of the more egregious forms of violence would. But
would argumentation ethics like entail that blackmail is like not permissible, or like?
Probably, yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, on that ground alone, I'd probably reject argumentation ethics, to be honest.
Wait, what? How would argumentation ethics reject blackmail?
If you were to define argumentation ethics properly.
I wasn't even
entail blackmail?
Or wait, how would argumentation ethics say blackmail is bad?
It certainly wouldn't
entail blackmail.
Or say that blackmail is an aggression.
Entail that it's wrong or it's impermissible.
Whatever, you know what I'm trying to say, right?
Sorry.
But I'm not sure how that.
I think I did, yeah.
You did say that? I wasn't listening.
Yeah, the argument I was making is that essentially like if you would, because like obviously so the argument I make is for why like forms of violence that are like relatively like more mild specifically are like a problem outside of the context of like a debate, is that essentially if people are able to kind of like just go up and like randomly attack people, that would essentially undermine the sort of like trust that would be needed in order to have like a society, like people to be willing to like basically work together as a society in order to basically do what they need to do, like in order to like have like proper communication with each other and like trust enough to like actually have the argument itself. Whereas if you allow things like basically breach of like that, there are other things that basically breach that kind of like a basic sense of security, including things like blackmail, that would basically have a similar terrorization effect.
I disagree with you on that. I mean, it may make somebody feel uncomfortable, but it's not gonna like. There's no conflict there. And,
I'm not denying that there's not a conflict in like the libertarian sense.
Oh.
What I'm saying is like that.
Well, that's what argumentation ethics is trying to, argue against.
Yeah, just trying to resolve
the initiation
conflicts.
of conflict.
What I'm saying is like the whole. I know. I understand all that. So the key thing there is that essentially like what I'm talking about is so like if you were to argue, for instance, that there is like, how do I put this? So if you're trying to like argue that there's performative contradiction in arguing that you can use aggression outside of a debate, the immediate problem is that it is like, how do you actually prove that? And like under mainstream argumentation, it's like what Hoppe argues. I don't think he can actually solve that problem. He unless he were to slightly like focus more on the whole idea of like essentially that things like aggression, especially things that like don't like disable you or take your life,
Oh well, you have
that would still leave you in a condition where you technically are able to hold on.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, mentioned Stefan Kinsella. He has his rights and punishment. I think that's where that kind of comes in. His punishment
Estoppel?
rights theory. Yeah, I think that's where that kind of comes
I mean,
in.
the estoppel is a different theory, but like, and it's wrong for other reasons. But that's I might do a Substack on that one actually at some point. But maybe I'm wrong about that. I currently think it's wrong. But like, it's an interesting idea. I'd like it to be accurate. I'd like estoppel to be accurate. It'd be really cool if it was. It would make retribution a lot easier to like just argue from a relatively common sense perspective that most people could get.
Well, have you read his chapter on it or no?
Yeah, I've read what he's written on it. Yes.
In his recent book or something like older?
His libertarian legal theory book.
Yeah, his most recent book. Yeah, that's
You're talking about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read a lot of that book. I've by no means finished it yet, but like I have it. Actually, I think I have it in tab.
Honestly, I think you should read
open on my computer.
Just that chapter and the one after it.
Yeah,
like, there's some other things, but those two main chapters are like a meat and potatoes. You know what I mean? Like the. Oh, hey, what's up, Jerkman?
I mean, I've read.
What's up?
I've read
What's up, God's Gift?
I've read Kinsella's what's it called? Like, I've read those sections. I've read that. I'm actually reading. Well, I mean, I've already read it, but I'm currently rereading the section on causation and responsibility. Really good one.
Well, I turned his one chapter using AI.
Oh, no.
I used using AI. I turned his book in his chapter into a audio listen, so you can listen to it on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, no, but don't read ANCAP's it. It's just stupid. Why would you do that?
Don't read what?
Don't read anything ANCAP. That's just you're just asking to be wrong.
Why are you here?
True.
I'm not an ANCAP, man. I'm not gonna let you ANCAPify the masses, man.
Well,
this is unbig.
Well, I don't care. I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah, but you gotta expect some pushback.
Pushback?
I think Jerkman's trying to like sharpen your blade to this. He's trying to help you out here.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that there's nothing you haven't heard before. Now you won't be able to answer it, maybe, but I'm gonna make sure there's nothing you haven't heard before from an econ bro.
That's good. I don't really need your help with that. I'm good on my own.
Oh no, you're not, dude. You'd get cooked pretty hard. I wouldn't say that at all. Like,
are you here to like? Oh, are you here to like, talk about anything useful, or are you just here to gloat about your knowledge of econ?
This never happened. This me gloating thing didn't happen.
No, you were you were about to tell me, oh, you don't know anything about economics, or you
don't.
Know
that's
oh,
okay.
I don't. Okay.
So,
bro, we're not talking about econ. We're talking about philosophy.
Okay, we're talking about econ, and I really don't have the patience for anyone who tells me. I've read many hours of econ books. I've studied econ for many hours. I've have YouTube videos on economics. So just because you disagree with my outlook on economics does not automatically mean that I know nothing about economics. So for you to come in here and say, I know nothing about economics just shows to me that you clearly don't have any respect for me. And I don't really want to talk to a person like that.
Well, Sithis, what do you think about deflationary debt dynamics?
Deflationary debt. So just because I don't know one subject on economics, does that automatically mean I know nothing about economics? Is that the argument you're about to make now?
No, I never stated that. I'm just asking what you think.
No, I don't really know. I have a opinion.
So you can imagine, of course, when we tie currency to a commodity, that deflation is going to occur.
It depends, you know.
It depends.
Depends on the situation.
Yeah, so if productivity increased, well, then deflation would still occur. Yeah, deflation is going to occur, right? Because there's the same quantity or decreasing quantity of money in the economy.
Yeah, you're staying muted.
And there's an increased quantity of resources that
Unless you apologize.
So, okay. I'll let you talk to Jerkman, I guess.
No, you could go ahead. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
Jerkman, I think you should apologize. You were being kind of cocky.
I'm so sorry, Sithis. I didn't mean to be. I'm a dick.
That's fine.
But I will come second that. Like, it is important, right? Econ. So.
Economics is very, very important. But like this whole coming in here, oh, Sithis, you just because you disagree with my views on economics, coming in here and saying I don't know anything about economics. It's very rude. Now, I've studied it for many hours.
You told me before you're not good at econ, and like I'm gonna be objective here.
Okay.
Right? Just calling like I'm not. What?
Well,
am I getting muted?
No, you're not getting muted. I'm just saying okay.
Instead of meta talking about whether or not Sithis is good at econ, I would like to talk to him about deflation.
Yeah, this is like the thing about this is why I don't engage with you guys, because like not you, but this is why I don't do this like mental masturbation where it's just like you come in here, you say something that is like super advanced, and then you'd be like, if I can't answer it, then your immediate response is, oh well, you clearly don't know anything about this subject. And honestly, I just don't have the patience for that. So if you're gonna come in here and do that, then I'll just mute you right away.
I'm trying to have a good faith conversation.
Not you,
here.
but not you. Just saying. Now, if you're not about to do that, then obviously it doesn't apply to you. If you're getting defensive, then, well.
Sure. We can talk about debt, right, and why it matters in respects to ANCAP, right?
Okay.
So we can imagine, like, just empirically speaking and theoretically speaking, if we tie money to something, like a commodity, the monetary supply is not going to increase relative to the amount of goods and services in an economy, right? This is good in your opinion, right? So this.
Well, I mean, it depends. It depends on whether or not there's a free market going on. Is there a free market going on?
Well, we're literally in Ancapistan, right?
Well, if there's a free market, then I don't care.
So you don't care. This is fine. So what might happen, though, and I don't know, what position do you take on this? Do you think that free market fiat's okay or no?
I mean, I don't really have a strong opinion on it. I'm not really well versed on that subject.
Yeah, see, I don't think that our critiques of debt deflation dynamics really apply to Sithis, Jerkman, because I think ultimately it's a normative system, right? So that's kind of what I've realized. Maybe the econ doesn't matter because I mean, at the end of the day, it's like property.
It does though, right? So
it
like,
matters to us,
cool.
but not to him. Like in order for econ to matter, we would have to say that consequentialism matters to some extent.
To some extent,
economics.
Sure.
I believe in Austrian economics, but again, fundamentally, what economic policy I'm going to support is going to be determined by my ethical view, right?
Yeah. See.
Sure. Is it? But like at some point, right? Like if I could give you like pretty strong deductive reasoning, a priori even. I won't even smuggle in any like pesky empirics, right? Mm-hmm. That like Austrian econ, right, would lead, and its conclusions would lead to like high unemployment rates, people starving, you know, mothers like going without like food, and children like, you know, dying, right? That this is good, right? You'd be like, yeah, this is cool as long as we don't steal and we have property ethics and all that, right? Would you still support this system?
That's ridiculous.
I could do this.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, yeah, sure, because like, I mean, but the issue is I don't think that's true.
Oh, it's 100% true, right? If you did like Rothbardian ANCAP to its core, and
allowing
what it
people to freely trade what may lead to mothers starving and children dying.
Yes. So, like for instance, we know that we've done like. I'm trying to do this not as mathematical as possible. Hold on, I'm trying to think. Okay, so for instance, like welfare, right? Okay. Before we had welfare systems, right? We did see like people starving, especially during like some sort of economic downturns. We saw like mothers would starve constantly, actually, Like in the Great Depression time periods, right? We would have bread lines, and all of these sorts of things. What we could have done during those time periods is just have some sort of welfare system, right? And give them either some sort of negative income tax, or some sort of potentially basic income like Hayek proposed. These would be very bare minimal, right? And they would still have curbed a lot of these negative social externalities that occurred from these economic hardships.
Well, one, I wouldn't support it ethically, and two, I don't think that welfare is even as good as people make it seem. Fundamentally, you're paying people to be at the bottom rung of society. That then incentivizes people to stay at that bottom rung to keep the income.
No,
or
so
more
that'd
people
be a
who would
welfare
otherwise
cliff,
not want
right?
to work.
Which I would agree, welfare cliffs are bad.
Huh?
Welfare cliffs are bad, right? We know that welfare cliffs are bad. So you can propose systems that get rid of welfare cliffs and make sure that you don't stay at the bottom. But a basic income isn't necessarily a welfare. There's no welfare cliff to a basic income, or in a Hayekian sense. We'll go purely Austrian here almost. We'll keep it in the Austrian school even. A welfare cliff gets rid of some of these things that you're talking. Doesn't get rid of some of the things you're talking about. Yeah, that's bad. But if we get rid of the welfare cliffs specifically, we can see that those first 3 issues you listed off are just completely vanished, and now it's just the work.
Are we not paying people for? Are we not? You not paying people for being poor?
In a sense, yes, but that doesn't mean you're going to stay poor.
Aren't you gonna incentivize more people to be poor if you pay people to be poor?
No, because the basic income is still a poverty wage, right? So you don't make less money from
that's
making
better than
more money.
no money, right?
Sure, but that'd be the next part, the work
there you
incentive
go.
problem.
So fundamentally, for instance, if I were to give you $1,000 or $100 to every person who broke their leg, I would imagine there would be an increase in the amount of people breaking their legs because they want to get the money, right?
Well,
this is true in the short term, right? Obviously, welfare decentralizes work on some level. There's going to be some employment that does not occur because of this. But in the long term, this is actually going to increase employment because it's going to allow people the income to have their basic needs being met and start to incentivize them to maximize their income even with this welfare program by working, right? So there's no cliff here. It teaches people some time preference stuff, because we can even disperse the welfare throughout the year like paychecks, right? We can start encouraging
but you're still
fiscal
paying people
responsibility
for being poor, right?
Yeah, and in the short run, you're right, this will probably
so if you pay people who are poor for being poor, I mean,
but the incentive here is that we're giving them a regular stream of income, and it kind of allows them to start,
you're paying poor people for being poor. You're gonna get.
We could even incentivize,
we can look at this through a dynamic modeling thing,
you could
right? So
you could word it however you want, but what you're doing is, you can give me the whole runaround.
Sure, you're paying people
fundamentally
for being poor,
you're paying poor people for being poor, and that's gonna incentivize more people to be poor. And also, there's also another negative incentive to that too, is especially if you're in a democracy.
Stop. You can't go right from point 1 to point 2. Yeah. Without
sure,
point 1, right, saying that you're going to have this large scale thing where you're incentivizing people to be poor. This only is true in welfare cliffs, right? The better claim you could be making is that there's a work disincentive, but no, there is not a welfare cliff. You're not encouraging people to be poor. In fact, the bottom wage is No, this is confused. So you will never make, under a negative income tax or a basic income system, less money if you make more money. Meaning, if I set the floor at 20,000, these are just random numbers. Don't think too much into 20,000.
Oh, sure, we know what he meant. He obviously means.
No, he doesn't, because he doesn't know what he means, because what he's saying specifically.
He does know what he means. When he says want the more people are going to be poor, he obviously knows they're going to have more money, but you're incentivizing people to be low income.
Yes,
right?
obviously, that's the whole
point. You're not
point.
Incentivizing.
If you do that, if you incentivize people, if you give people at lower incomes more money for being at lower incomes, then especially with a negative income tax, you're going to incentivize people to stay at that income.
Yeah, they're going to
work. Basic fact. I mean, that's the whole reason why. This is the whole reason why, right? This is the whole reason.
You're wrong.
Wait, just one last thing, and I'll let you go. This is the whole reason why you're seeing a whole bunch of homeless people going to California, and the reason why is because they have a whole bunch of welfare programs. They have a whole bunch. They give a whole bunch of free shit to poor people and homeless people for being poor and homeless. So what do you get? You get more poor and homeless people. You know, I don't think that's a coincidence.
So you're conflating a welfare cliff and a work disincentive. So a welfare cliff is what you're thinking a negative income tax is, where you have more welfare and you lose welfare the more money you make. That has a strong work disincentive, right? The difference is in a negative income.
Then they would have otherwise
Good. That's bad. Good job. We got that part. The difference between that and a negative income tax is that a negative income tax does not have that. Meaning, if I set my negative income tax at, let's say, $2,000 or a really shitty wage, there is no more really incentive to be at that wage, other than that's the bare minimum wage everyone gets. Meaning, that is now basically set at like a quasi-poverty line. You're not going to be making much money to be basically substantiated from that.
Yeah,
so you do not have a strong one.
What if you're living with another person? What if you're living in a tent? What if you're, you know what I'm saying?
This is empirical. Figure it out. You made it empirical, cite it. Because the literature does not support this.
That if you pay poor people to be poor, that you get more.
You're not paying. This is so confused. You're not paying them to be poor. You only pay as
negative incomes
income.
And doesn't a negative income tax? Wait. Doesn't a negative income tax only go to the lower income people?
You are paying, yes, but that's not paying someone to be poor. So you're paying a basic
for
wage.
Being poor.
Or you could be like,
and if once they raise an income,
but you're never making more.
That negative income goes away, right?
No,
so it stays with them as they go
confused. Up. No, so if I make $30,000 a year,
wait. Is that a yes or no?
Threshold. I have to explain the model. I don't think you know what a negative income tax is, which is fine. So if I make, let's say the threshold is
let me explain to you what a negative.
You don't know
what I think in
my
conception of a negative income tax, and you'll tell me whether I'm
right.
Why
would I do that when I can just explain you what a negative income tax is?
All right, tell me what a negative income tax is then.
Okay, so a negative income tax, if I'm making $30,000 a year, right, and the threshold's $25,000, meaning after $25,000, I no longer get paid, or whatever the basic income is $15,000. Do these numbers track so far? So 15,000 is the basic, the floor. 25 is where I no longer pay 0% in taxes.
Yeah.
And then, so if I'm making 30,000, right, I get 0 NIT money. I get 0 cash transfer.
Okay.
If I'm getting 20,000, I'll get bumped up, I don't know, maybe like to 23,000. If I'm getting
so my conception of it was 15, correct.
No, because you're thinking that you make more money if you get off the negative income tax. That's just impossible.
No, that's not what I meant. What I meant was that as you gain more money in terms of earning more money, you get a higher tax, or your negative income tax becomes lower and it becomes a positive income tax, right?
Sure, but that doesn't matter because your earnings are higher. Right, so like you're it doesn't matter.
So my conception of it was totally correct, and you were getting all upset. So
no,
what I was going to say is
where you're getting confused is you might get taxed a single percent, but where your thinking is happening is that you're making less money. No, you're always going to be making more mony. There's no possible welfare.
But you're gonna be putting more work while getting less money than you would have otherwise if the tax wasn't there, right? If you get to a higher income, right?
So repeat that one more time.
If you get to a higher income and they start taxing you, now you're making less money than you would have otherwise be making than if you didn't have that tax.
No. Well, I mean, it depends what you're saying. Like, are you saying that if I make 30,000
and there's a 1% tax, I'm making less money than I otherwise would be if that tax wasn't there? So like if the tax, so I'm getting taxed 1% of my wealth, then I have $29, right? Obviously I have less there than I would have had if the tax wasn't there. So as my income goes up, the tax gets higher, and as my income goes lower, the tax, it goes in reverse and I start making money. So that actually reverses the incentive to create wealth and at the lower brackets.
This is where you're just misunderstanding what a negative
Excuse
income
me.
tax is. So what you're describing would be what's called a welfare cliff, right? I don't know. So the more money you make, the worse your welfare conditions get, and the less money that like you make in practice, the more you
But if
earn,
you make more
right?
money,
So, like,
the less the income tax, like the negative income tax goes down, and then after a certain amount, you start getting a positive income tax after making a certain amount of money, correct?
yes, but you're gonna conflate this really bad.
Okay, so
Because I think
if you're making below that amount of money,
let's do it this way. Because these are mathematically equivalent. I don't know why negative income tax is so hard for people to understand. But so
I feel like I understand it perfectly fine.
No,
I think this is doing
possible for-
fine, jerk man. You gotta be less pedantic.
No,
Do you
he's
really
not.
think I
He
don't
thinks he's
understand what
making
he's saying? Like, I mean, is this truly like you truly think I don't understand what you're saying? Is that?
I think there's like a fold that you don't fully get, but I think you get the substance enough that like a point can be demonstrated relying
I
on
don't
it.
think it can, because when you're saying that you have a disincentive to make more money, that's just absolutely incorrect.
This isn't. So the only thing you don't understand is that yes, it decentivizes work minorly. This is empirically demonstrated, but it doesn't decentivize you earning more. Like if you are working, earning more is not decentivized because you still,
Well,
you're
your
not-
taxes
you're never
increase
being
as
taxed
you
more.
earn more, right?
No.
we're
Your taxes do literally you do lose
we
more
don't live in a
money,
progressive
right? But
tax system. Are we not talking
you're,
about the
you're
current?
never you're never gonna have less from working more. The more you work, you can only get more, right? That's what he's saying. But
So wait,
you are correct. And this argument, you don't need this to be. You can just say, yeah, you're right. Like the more you work, the more you earn. This is always going to be the case.
Yeah, but though
you
you get the
can
more you
say-
earn, the more you get taxed.
Yeah, I'm helping you.
Doesn't matter.
Yes,
You're
it
always
does.
going to benefit.
Not for
I'm
work
helping you,
disincentive.
Cithis.
Oh my
Wait,
god,
wait,
no,
wait,
God,
wait.
Jeff, I'm tired of being nice. For a work
No, Jared,
disincentive,
stop.
no.
You're being really rude. He understands actually a decent argument here. But okay, so just know in your head, working more is always better, but not working at all is incentivized in this model, right? Like there will be less people working on some level because of this program, right? That's proven.
Yeah, obviously.
You just spoon-fed him that argument, though. So
No, he was saying that
That's what I
earlier.
was trying to say.
No, he wasn't. No,
Yes,
my
I
God, no, he
was.
wasn't.
I was making that
thinks-
argument the whole time. If
Would you rather him? Okay, so would you rather me explain to him the model? I guess you think he didn't know it. I think he knew it. I think he had
Well, no,
another
that's
argument.
okay. Listen.
He's
Listen.
so
I
fucking
may not be
confused on
making
it.
the whole model. I'm not sitting here and breaking down the whole model and saying, "Oh, this is where it does this and this and this and that." But the gist of my argument is fundamentally
No,
is that
dude,
if you give poor people money, for being poor, you incentivize more poor people.
this is dude. No, God, if you know that's not even true.
This
That is
actually,
true.
like,
That
the
is just so
argument has
true.
some truth to it.
It's true. There is
people-
some truth.
No,
There's a kernel of truth to it.
The only argument that he has is that the work disincentive is real, but I can explain to you why that doesn't matter.
That causes
later, but that's
more
gonna be fine.
poverty than otherwise.
No, this is just so.
No, he's already
okay, first
established
off,
this. This is fun. So you can, instead of like ridiculing him, like we just taught him at IT, like we can't, like I don't know what you expect him to do, like break
No,
out
because
academic
he
takedowns?
he still thinks that the more money
Sorry, you guys.
you're gonna laugh at me, but I will.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the situation because you guys are like. Sorry, I'll mute.
I mean,
Okay.
I can, you want to laugh at me? I can make this.
I'm
the
not
point.
laughing
move on
at
to your
you.
point.
I'm
We-
not laughing at you. I'm
Yeah.
not making fun of you. I'm just laughing at the situation.
I'm actually
Because
trying
I don't
really hard
see
not
why
to
I'm-
get, like, super
I don't see
contrast.
what
Let's
the
just check
issue is.
his understanding. So, Cithis, do you think there's ever a scenario where if you earn more money, you're going to take home less money under this model?
If you earn more money, you're gonna take home less money.
Yeah, is there ever going to be a scenario where you're earning more? And
Well, as
it's
a whole,
actually better
yes.
to earn less.
But as a whole, yes, of course. But like, if you take
No. Cithis,
if
the
you
answer
take
is no.
the taxes into
This-
perspective, that if the taxes weren't
are.
there,
Oh my
you would be making
fucking
more
God.
money. Not if the
Okay,
taxes weren't
so-
there.
Right, but this is true. But if you work an extra hour to get paid an extra $18, always going to be the case. You have more money than otherwise, no matter what tax bracket you're in under this model, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. So he understands now that the more you work, the more you get paid. So we get rid of the welfare cliff argument. But we've also all agreed, right, that in the short term, there's going to be an increase in unemployment, right, Sithis?
Of course, because there's going to be some people who will take advantage, of course.
So now
Or
I
less
will
work
explain
less.
to you why this doesn't matter. So we can do what's called a DSGE model, which is basically dynamic equilibrium. So what happens when we increase households' consumption? They start spending more, which is true under all welfare, right? That's just how it works. Why? Because rich people, whether we tax them more, do not consume at a very high rate. What they do is they save at a higher rate, which means that firms do not have inventory dwindling as much when wealth is concentrated in some sort of high amounts of like wealthy people, right? Now, wealthy people are good. We don't want high taxes on them. In fact, we want as little income tax as possible. If we could do this largely by deficit spending, even better. If it's not possible, you have to tax in other ways. We can get to that later. Anyways, after funding for the NIT is figured out, we can realize that household consumption increases. What this does is it dwindles inventories, sending a production chain that needs to then happen. This production chain increases the amount of capital in relation to labor because you need to produce more. What that does is it increases the amount of the wage relation, right? Because there is a work disincentive, meaning the labor supply shifts to the left, but a demand incentive that will dominate because when you have a higher amount of people in low income brackets with high propensities to consume, you will see that their income will, the demand effect will dominate the supply effect, meaning you will have a larger output growth, which will also increase wages, real wages, in relation to they were previously.
So what?
So you will diminish poverty as well as increase like output statistics. So like for instance, GDP will be much higher in a society with NIT than without NIT.
How does that not run into like the knowledge problem? Like how is the people in the government going to know the right policy to put in place and have able to know all that information and, you know, do all that the correct way?
So this is literally, NIT is made by Friedman, who would agree with the knowledge problem. He would say that this is the ultimate defeater to the knowledge problem, right? You give people whatever percent of dollars that they need, and they then choose what they want to spend with it. There is no housing. The housing market is completely determined by, like, I guess, supply and demand factors. The healthcare society, whatever the welfare that you're substituting with NIT, is all done through.
But you could do this theoretically with a private business, right? Like if you had a private firm, right? And they had, couldn't they do this?
How are they going?
Yeah, you could do this.
Sure, theoretically it's possible. Empirically demonstrated, never.
Okay, so then, why couldn't we just do this in a private business as opposed to having it in a state?
No, you're right. This has been done. Mutual aid societies actually used to have guaranteed income for their members. I mean, so if you got laid off, they would pay you money. So this could be done at scale.
And the Moose? Is that what you're talking about?
Not the Moose. There's African American fraternities.
Isn't that like the Moose?
No,
because like
Moose are not.
I feel like God's gift literally did the same thing to me the other day, where he rattled on about, oh well, this would be better off if we did this with the money supply and blah 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 blah. I know. Obviously, that may not be 100% what you said, but you know what I'm trying to do, right? And then at the end, I'm just like, well, listen, couldn't we just have a private business that does this?
Yeah, theoretically. Like,
okay, well then, why do we have to have the state to do this? You know, why do we have to force people?
Okay, first of all, right, we need to accrue funds for that. So NIT is at low ball estimates around like 850 billion to like I think up to like $2 trillion, right? You need to accrue funds for that. So
insurance companies could do something like that, right?
So what's the largest business right now currently? But what are they raking in a year?
I don't know. You tell me.
Around like $2 trillion, right? So assuming that this is basically all off of what costs exact. So assuming this, we can just accrue NIT funds of like $1.5 trillion a year in annual revenue somehow, and that rich people are just going to really invest into like negative income tax insurance program. Sure, I can't falsify that, right? I can be skeptical of it all I want, and the truth is you can empirically verify it. So I don't think there's really any other than very small like fraternities that God Gifter's talking about that
I feel like
have
the
done
Lodge
this.
did something pretty good. They had something good going, right?
Yeah, there was some of these associations had hundreds of thousands of members, right? And they had unemployment programs.
There was this one book that's called From the Mutual Aid to the Welfare State. Maybe I should turn that into an audiobook.
Yeah, have you read it? It's a great book. That's what I've read. That's where I get my stuff from, on mutual aid societies.
From Mutual Aid to the Welfare State. I haven't read it fully. I tried to get into it, but the thing about that book is they mention a lot of things and a lot of places and a lot of time periods, and like I don't know any of
It's
this
literally
shit.
just
Like,
1860, like Civil War to like 1930 is the scope of the book.
Yeah. So I had
And
to
like each
like
chapter is like a case study, right? So you could just read one chapter at a time. There's one about Mooseheart, which is really worth reading. There's different ones about African American ones. There's one about a hospital setup they had in like Louisiana for Black people. Good stuff.
All right,
Yeah,
so there
sure.
you go,
like,
Jerk
but
Minnow.
again,
We're on the same page now. We're all good. We're cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so
This is one of those things that
conflated.
there's
Hold on.
the answers for that Jerkman just doesn't like, and they're not sufficient to the standard of proof that Jerkman wants. But as far as like
Are we not on
standard
the
of
same
proof
side
for-
now? Are we not on the same side now?
No,
No, I'm not. I don't
Why
find
not?
this sufficient. I'm just telling you, in the grand scheme of things that ANCAPs can empirically demonstrate, there is technically something here.
No, there is not, dude. This is insane, right? To say that like the Moose or the Lodge had enough like funds or an annual revenue to do a large-scale negative income tax program is absolutely insane. That's just not
Dude,
even
they had
remotely
unemployment
close.
insurance before.
Unemployment insurance. I'm not even the claim I made, right? I'm saying that they do not have $1 trillion of annual revenue going to
They
mutual
can't.
aid.
don't have
They
it.
really?
They don't
Are you
need $1
serious?
trillion
You can't.
of
You think a private city couldn't figure out a negative income tax?
This is kind of
Dude.
silly.
I feel like
Like
that's
we could
not that
imagine,
hard.
like, so imagine there's this many welfare societies, and this was when a majority of Americans were receiving benefits from the Civil War and the Spanish American War, and these covered millions of Americans. People chose to participate in these.
Could it just
without the
inverse the
state-
tax?
We,
You know what
we
I'm
can
saying?
even
There you
see,
go.
even with state welfare, people are paying for welfare on top of it, right? So without the state, we can imagine these mutual aid societies would have the capability to administer the level of aid you're talking about. But even beyond that, they'd be more efficient because they'd have more knowledge of their members' needs and they have better incentives to economize.
Yeah, the
and not have to
ECP.
So,
That's
actually,
insane.
when you look at these mutual aid societies, the way they operated was actually on the margins because they were hyper economically efficient. They didn't want to accumulate any surplus; they just wanted to pay out benefits. So I don't know.
When we're speaking of negative income tax specifically, right? We understand. I know you understand this. I think you're kind of quasi LARPing right now.
I'm not learning. I think that you could theoretically imagine a world where NIT is done through mutual aid societies.
Dude, if you have a private city,
that's the old ANCAP.
if you have a private covenant community that's charging the private businesses within that area an income tax, they could just reverse it and have a negative income tax.
Sure,
and
sure,
then there
you
you
can
go.
do it. But again, empirical verification obviously needed to say that because
This is a bad
dude,
faith thing. You can't argue
That
against
is
an ANCAP and then ask for
totally
empirical
doable.
verification.
That is totally doable.
No. Because here's why it's not bad faith, right? I can say specifically about any claim that I doesn't go to my like perspective, that it doesn't fit my narrative, right? And I say, it's feasible. It could happen. I don't
But
think
we
that we
actually
have.
have evidence
tell me
that,
the
like,
odds.
No,
over.
you don't. No, you God gift you. No, you don't.
We
looked
have
the lodge-
evidence
the lodge
over-
system covered 2 million people, right? That
This
is
is
nowhere
not true.
near.
You're wrong.
Sorry, 2 to 6 million people. How many
You're
was
wrong. More.
it? Site.
It covered over a third of Americans at one point.
Site.
Yeah, from mutual aid to the welfare state from James Beto. I told you to read it.
Yeah, so according the lodge system says that there was 600,000 members, potentially 6 million members, the largest concentration in the United States.
And what is your source? AI, bro?
Yeah.
Go read
For now.
data.
I sent you a message, Jerkman.
Sent me a message.
Yeah.
Laughing at you. Oh, I don't give a fuck, dude.
Just saying.
Who's laughing at Jerkman?
Nothing.
He thought he laughed at me earlier, but he told me why.
This is okay. I mean, Jerkman's right. Like, we can't empirically verify this, but like, we do have enough empirics on mutual aid societies.
I feel like theoretically we could prove it.
Yeah.
Like, it's that, like,
This
obviously
is-
what we're saying
Yeah,
theoretically.
when you posit we have a when you posit we can get $1 trillion of revenue. This
We
is
don't need a
obviously
trillion.
dude,
sure. Like for let's say a
if the
city
state
like New
wasn't
York,
holding
you would
back
need.
business owners right now, how do you know that they wouldn't be making $1 trillion right now?
It's true.
Sure, I can't falsify any of these claims though.
Wow.
But
Wow.
I don't know what you expect.
That's not a
Like,
good thing.
this
That's not a
is
good thing.
asking
Listen,
ACAP,
bro.
right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could just ask, well, how would we do NIT? And then, like, the ACAP just says, well, it's possible, okay? And that's, like, what you're going to get. There's nothing beyond that, Jerkman.
yeah, but I mean, his original claim was that all welfare is bad, and then he had to go, oh fuck.
It
well,
is
I
bad
gotta-
ethically. You're,
Well,
like,
ethically, I mean, if it's
forcing them in a
taxes,
different
yeah.
way.
If it's
Could
done
you
through
give us an
taxes.
ethical justification for welfare, Jerkman?
But if it's not like, if it's
Oh,
not
dude.
done through taxes, then that's just charity, and I don't care.
5 million to 30 million people. Was like the highest it got to from the
I
square
know,
man.
1/3 of Americans were on this, or covered by a large plan. But what is the ethical justification for welfare?
Didn't black people get really fucked up by welfare?
Again, kind of. So again, when we're doing economics, right? You don't make economic claim. You don't make ethical or normative decisions. I'm just saying specifically, right, that in terms of quality of life standards, it will go up if you have some sort of welfare.
That's
I'm
just
not
cool.
making
But
no-
he's just expressing a preference to you, Sithis. You should tell him what color your wall is.
But anyways, like, you could just have that in charity form and not the state.
True.
Sure, we can posit this all we want, right? We can say, this will just happen. People are gonna obviously give up $1 trillion of revenue.
It doesn't need
This
to be $1
is
trillion.
how it's gonna happen.
It doesn't need to be $1 trillion.
Well, if you want to cover the entire United States, is what
It
I'm
doesn't
saying,
need to
$1
cover
trillion.
the whole United States. What if there's like
Oh, no, I
covenant
get it,
communities? What if there's like
So I'm
covenant
saying
communities?
specifically, right? So like, let's say the U.S. is in Kapistan, right? There will still be, right, whatever amount of poor people, right? At least maybe in the first year. Maybe ANCAP is just so great and grand, with like their 30% unemployment, right? That like they can, you know,
What do you
do
mean?
this.
We would have like 0%
Sithis, what are you
unemployment,
doing?
basically.
You,
There
would be, like,
gotta do
everybody
right
would-
now,
you could
is
just
gotta
work
hide
anywhere.
in ethics. You gotta hide in ethics, Sithis. It's time to hide in ethics.
What do you mean, bro? Like, I can't imagine
already
you couldn't find a
wait,
job in Kapistan. Like, anyone would be able to start a business anywhere. Anyone would be able to work
I'm
anywhere.
trying to help you here, right? Like,
No, I mean,
think
just-
you've
I don't know.
demonstrated there's a possible world where this could maybe happen, but it's not likely. I think everyone knows this. So you have to run to ethics, okay? This is what happens with this.
It is wrong to steal.
There you go. Good job. Lock into it. Now say
Yeah,
something
you
about
have a-
argumentation presupposing normativity and then
Yes,
like, good, evil,
argumentation ethics. Have you not read Hapa?
There
Yeah.
you go. W.
I have read Hapa. I've actually read the AE book. Did you have to engage in argumentation in 24/7 for AE to be true?
No.
That's a cope, actually. I forgot the syllogism though.
Bro, that is nonsense. That is a bunch of nonsense. Whatever that argument is. I can't understand what that argument is being made, but I feel like it's a bunch of nonsense. I'm sure there's an argument against it.
It's just
I'm sure
it's
ANCAP
really
Doggo up here has an argument against it. That's
It's like a particularization argument, which is that it's only demonstrating truths in the course of argumentation. But that kind of it's more of like a side constraint on truth claims, which is that they must be proven through argumentation, not that argumentation is the only time they're true. I don't know. I don't think that's a good critique, but if you say it with enough confidence.
honestly, I think that fundamentally, what it proves is that you can't justify an ethic while arguing that contradicts the NAP without falling into a contradiction, performative contradiction, thus making it false. And if there's two options, then the opposite must be true, making the NAP true.
Wait, do you remember Hoppa's critique of non-cog?
No.
He said they should just go kill themselves.
That was Kinsella's, not Hoppa's.
What's a
Yeah,
what?
Hoppa-
A non-cog?
I thought there was a video of Hoppa going, you should
Hoppa does
just kill
say that,
yourself.
but it was not about non-cog.
Oh, it wasn't about non-cog? What was it about?
Well, he said that critique
Wait, what's
against
a
like
non-cog?
he said that critique against
The
like
theater for
anti-war.
ANCAP.
Where are you, Doggo? Are you like in a tunnel somewhere?
I'm on my phone, so that's why.
Where are you?
In bed?
Oh, hanging out.
I assumed you were like on vacation or something. I haven't seen you around.
But,
Yeah, God gifts like low-key ANCAP brain there for a second.
I was helping
You-
Sithis, okay?
You were
I
you were
deserve to be
helping
helped.
Sithis.
I deserve to be helped because it's my
I was
1,000
kind of annoyed the way you were
subscriber
talking to Sithis
special.
on NIT. Like it felt unnecessarily pedantic, jerk man. I'll be honest.
It wasn't dude, when he thinks for like 30 minutes that NIT is a welfare cliff, I'm gonna get frustrated.
You never said that.
I never said it was a welfare.
No,
I
he
never
didn't-
said
he didn't
those words.
say
Never
that.
came
He
out of
was
my
alluding
mouth
to
or
it.
anything about
He
a
was
welfare
alluding
cliff.
to it for a very long time.
Okay, well, when you should probably assume the best of your interlocutors. I'm pretty sure Sithis isn't a very bad faith guy. He doesn't really seem to do that.
I don't think he's in bad faith.
So yeah, just be good faith.
I try
him.
to be
Just
good
assume the
faith.
best.
Except unless you're a communist.
Dude,
The Fly,
Sithis
what's
has
up,
muted
man?
me multiple times about other stuff that like,
Yo.
Only because you were
I
being
don't.
mean.
Oh, yeah.
And
No.
you're on his show, bro. You can mute
Yeah,
whoever you
you're
want.
on my show. Well, no, I'm not gonna mute you now because you're being all right.
Yeah, see.
You're all right with me right now. The Fly, what's
But
going on
the
with you?
whole like, I think you don't understand what I'm saying thing is like, it's fine, right? But like, Sithis isn't big on econs. Like the fact you grasped it, like you should be happy, sure.
Check
No, the one
DMs,
thing I
guys.
just
I'll tell
find
you why
is
I-
annoying is just the condescension. That's all. It's just like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
don't
that-
know
that
anything
is-
about econ. You don't know anything about this. You don't know
You
anything.
don't? Okay, no.
And it's just like,
this is
like,
true. This is true.
okay,
Like,
I mean, yeah, but
objectively,
you tell me this all the time. I don't care if you think that. I don't
It's not that I
care.
think, dude. Again,
Okay,
this
I
is like
don't
objectively.
care. I don't
I
care.
objectively
I
know
don't
nothing
care.
about philosophy. You can say that and I can't get upset. Why? Because it's true. Right? You can say it to me right now. I don't know
Yeah,
anything
but
about
you
ethics.
say that every
I don't.
time. But no, but you say it every time.
Dude, you know what I don't
we
do?
talk.
You know what I don't do? I don't make economic claims. Or sorry, I don't make philosophical claims.
You do kind of inherently.
When
Well,
I'm
we all do,
trolling,
don't we?
When I'm trolling, I do.
Well, wait,
I'm
didn't you
like,
just
yeah,
say you
like,
supported welfare?
that's an economic claim?
Well, yeah, but doesn't that
Yeah.
entail the forceful taking of another person's property?
No, so I'm saying I support welfare in the extent of economics, meaning like I think that this would have better outcomes for these whatever independent variables. Or sorry, dependent variables.
Yeah, but welfare entails the forceful taking of a person's property and giving it to another person,
Again,
isn't it?
so in the scope of economics, right? Economics isn't worry with normativity. So I don't like when we're doing econ. I don't give a fuck if this is like kills 100,000 babies or whatever, right? Whatever it is, right? We are going to specifically see that does this independent variable affect the dependent
Oh,
variable
so if there was a
positive?
charity that was doing the exact same thing, you would say it's perfectly fine, or it wouldn't change your opinion. It's just the facts that it's a state.
Well, it wouldn't
is
be
able to do
normative.
it
I'm not.
now.
I wouldn't hold. I think that the state can do this a lot more feasibly as well as more efficiently than a private market can, because I don't think we've really seen demonstrated mutual aid societies do anything to this extent or large enough to this extent to have this positive social externalities unlike
So
utility.
I have to have a complete 100% understanding of economics in order to even speak on it. Is that what
No,
you're
I
saying?
don't. I don't. What I do have more than you is that I've engaged in the literature more than just like reading a few Austrian books. And again,
Okay,
this
so
is not
because
just
I
trying to be
haven't
a test.
read the amount of
No.
books that you personally think I should be
This
reading,
is not what
that
I'm.
means...
This is what I'm saying. Very few people have read the amount of books I have on econ. What I'm trying to
Oh, got
say is
you.
that.
Do
I'm
you,
trying to
like,
say.
do you realize how this sounds, though? Like, Jerkman?
No, what? You can, dude. You can literally say the exact same thing to me about philosophy. And I'm
I
not
know,
gonna
but
get
do you not
butthurt.
realize how this sounds? Like, do you not hear
What?
yourself when you say stuff like that? When you go, oh, like, clearly, I know I've read so many books on it, and you haven't read enough books on it, so therefore
dude,
you don't know anything about it. Like,
books wasn't even the claim I'm making. I'm making a specific claim
know what
that
I'm
I
trying
don't
to
think
say.
we should talk about econ.
You know what I'm trying to say, bro.
Like, again, like people have read less books than me on econ and know more books more than me on econ.
Okay.
That's true. The thing is, it's just not about how much you've read or how much of this and that. It's just that do you actually understand economics? And if you have, and you've read zero books,
I feel like I have a fine understanding of economics.
no, dude, like that's fine
No?
though. That's not your thing. You don't. That's totally cool. I don't understand philosophy. I don't understand a lot of
Okay,
things.
but
I
what
don't
would make you
understand
think I don't know
anthropology.
anything about economics? What would make you think that?
When we speak about economics, you're most of the time confused, and this is totally okay. Like, but like,
So
this
that
is
means
the
I
thing.
know nothing about economics, from your standpoint.
So, like, if I was to go into a quantum physics class and have no idea what the person was talking about, and in that quantum physics class, I'm like, you know what? I think I understand it pretty well. You see,
Yeah,
like
but
that does mean I'm.
wait. But you do realize there's like different branches of economics. There isn't just the study. There's like the study of economics. There's like there's the
Why
study of
does he
economics,
say
and
you
then
don't understand it?
and there's different branches of economics, right? There's like socialist economics. There's the Keynesian style. There's the Chicagoan
Yes,
school, and I'm an
yeah,
Austrian,
sure.
right? So what I do is I focus on the Austrian school, right?
That's totally okay.
So
like,
to say
maybe,
that I don't know anything about economics when I've been studying the Austrian school for a while, and I feel like I know a pretty good pretty good understanding. I think it's pretty condescending.
I can quiz you on like the Austrian school specifically. I don't think
No,
you have
I'm
a
not
great
gonna do. I'm
understanding
not
of
gonna
that.
sit here and flatter
that's
you.
the
What I'm
thing,
trying
like-
to say is, like, at the end of the day,
Not to
what you
flatter me,
say
I
is
just
the
know-
reason
I've
why I
talked
mute
to you
you
for a
when you
while.
say shit like that is because it's incredibly condescending, and I don't have the patience for it. I mean, you could say it's objectively true, whatever, yada yada yada. I don't care. If you continue to do it, I will. I'm just gonna mute you. I don't like it. I think it's annoying.
You can mute. I get it. Like this isn't gonna bother me.
No, it's fine.
But like I'm saying, it,
I'm just
like
explaining to you the reason why I muted you earlier.
no, I get it. Maybe I was a little harsh. I mean, like, but I'm just saying, like, I don't like that you claim to know econ.
That's fine. You could
you
say
don't.
that, but at the end of the day,
you don't know it.
Okay, you could say that all you want, but in the end of the day, it's not going to change. I'm not going to stop talking about it. I'm not going to stop doing my thing, and screaming that I don't understand it over and over again it's not going to change anything.
I mean, I demonstrated earlier, right? You conceded on NIT. In fact, your point is that, that ANCAP will just do it.
Okay,
It's
well
not that it was
then
bad
you could
anymore.
debate me on the arguments, but coming in here and saying I don't know anything about economics, that's just annoying, and I don't deal with that. I don't have the patience for it.
You have to. Like, I get it. You can just kick
No,
me.
I have the
don't get,
patience for conversations, but I don't have the patience for condescension.
Sure, I could be condescending to you, dude. You can be condescending to me on things that you know more than me about. Like, that's totally fine.
Jerkman, just a little context here. This is his 1,000 subscribers stream, so I'm guessing he's particularly not patient for people attacking him personally rather than having debates. So I'd recommend keeping that in mind during the conversation.
Yeah, that doesn't matter to me. Like, if this was a 1 million subscriber stream or 30th, I don't think I would change.
Are you like autistic or something, or
me?
Yeah.
No.
Are you sure? Maybe we should take a test.
Positive, dude.
All right. Not making fun of you or anything, but you seem not to. I don't know. Anyways, now there's nothing wrong with being passionate about what you believe in, but sometimes I just don't have patience for certain things.
I don't know.
And we can talk about Icon all day if you want to. I really don't care.
Yeah. Dude, I just came in talking. Like, you could have kicked me like 30 minutes ago. I wouldn't have given a fuck. But
Okay. Anything else? Is that it?
no, I was just you're good.
No. So is that it? Like on the MIT thing, or?
I mean, unless you have any more questions about it, yeah, I don't. I think I showed you that some sort of NIT is probably beneficial for the economy.
Yeah, but you would call it MIT, whereas I would just consider it to be charity if it wasn't funded through the state.
Well, so that'd be the backwards thing, right? Like if the charity doesn't sufficiently need it, then it would be no longer good for the economy. There would be some excess capacity that's being left off.
I mean, maybe, but maybe I could concede if you show me the proper. I mean, if you convince me good enough. I don't know. Not that subject too much. All I could say is that if it could be properly done outside of a state, then I wouldn't be against it.
Sure, I don't really see. I think I've told you, like, you would need basically $1 trillion annually.
I mean, for the whole country, you're talking about the whole country, though.
To assume, so you'd have to assume $1 trillion, right, goes into.
Yeah, but some covenant communities are going to be smaller than a whole country, right?
No. It doesn't matter, right? If there's covenant communities and like the total aggregate in the U.S. consists, country, right, or the land of the U.S., right? If it was an Ancapistan or not, it would still be whatever the population of America is right now, and the guesstimates from a lot of economists is that it's around anywhere from like 850 billion to like 2 trillion. And
yeah,
this is also
having
assuming
multiple private charities that do something similar in smaller scales be better because, you know, of the
actually the opposite. So
the issue of what you call it, I forgot the word, but when economy of scale.
So there's not
diseconomy of scale. That's what they call
it. There's an issue in the contrary of that when especially speaking about like insurances, and you can see this in the healthcare industry, is that there is large overhead costs and administrative costs.
Diseconomy of scale. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. So like, wouldn't it be better for there to be like multiple firms as opposed to like one large one because of diseconomy of scale?
Not in this context, no. In most contexts, yes. But it's not a universally true thing. So, like, for instance, I want to, when speaking of welfare and any welfare type policies, or you can call it charity, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. You do not want high overhead costs because they're just blatant deadweight loss, right? Like, welfare, in almost any sense, is kind of not something you want to spend. You want to spend as little as possible on to a certain threshold, right? So, like, let's say the threshold of perfect efficiency is like a billion, just to make the math easy. And the U.S. doing it has overhead costs of like, I don't know, extra 100 billion. So now it's, you know, 1 trillion and $100 or $1 billion, sorry. And now when you have multiple firms, right, trying to raise that $1 trillion, like we said, you would basically have overhead on each of those that would be larger than the next. So, for instance, in order to stay competitive, right, I might need some marketing. That's the cost the U.S. government doesn't need. And in order to stay competitive, I might need, you know, some sort of risk insurance, something the U.S. government doesn't need. And you can do that and extrapolate that across all of the firms, and those will potentially be, we see this in the healthcare industry specifically when it comes to private insurances, that you will have larger costs than, let's say, like a single system. And another example would be like how much the U.S. spends in healthcare compared to like the U.K. Now, there's nuance there. I'm not, in speaking about the healthcare, I'm not saying specifically that like the UK is a better healthcare system than the US. I'm saying specifically that when speaking of like, risk pooling, it is cheaper to have one system than like a bunch.
Maybe in that one situation, but you're talking about a whole country.
Yeah, I mean, I told you, like, in one situation specifically, most of the time, more firms is
Things
better.
change. Maybe in that one situation, but for the most part, generally, it's the opposite.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying specifically, right? It's better, right, most of the time to have competitive firms and all of that. But in the specifics of welfare, right, it is not better to have multiple firms because they have higher overheads.
Well,
and
what
yeah,
if
they
the
can
private
economize
businesses run differently? Like they would have more of an incentive to lower costs than otherwise? Because of the incentive structure?
Yeah, like they lower costs.
It's not better
but they
to
also
have free
other
competition.
costs associated with being a private competitive firm, like marketing or some sort of risk pooling.
Artificial
maybe a
monopoly
legal
is
team,
good.
whatever it is.
But generally, like people, they only spend money on advertising if they feel they're going to make more money from the advertisement than they like bringing more people in.
Sure, but then if they don't have the advertising, then no one gets it, and that'd be also a problem. So like,
so that's a good thing, right?
So the most obvious thing to like point out empirically is just straight up the UK versus US example of healthcare. The U.S. spends far more on healthcare, and it's largely private, even per capita. When I'm saying this, I'm saying per capita, than the U.K. And the only reason why, not the only reason, there's other compounding factors to this, is largely due to just private businesses having a lot of overhead compared to a unified board. Now, this doesn't always mean in context the most efficient. Right? Large overhead doesn't always equal bad, but in this context, large overhead is not good.
Well, there could be maybe some outside regulation or factor that could be causing that.
No, I told you, like, it's probably not as drastic as you see, but to say that it's all based on, like, the regulation is probably
nothing is all,
far-fetched.
I guess, but fundamentally, regulations
there's higher costs, like
incentivize certain like
all I need to show
benefit behaviors
is that X country has higher costs. So US has a higher cost than the UK. Even if we can control for all of those variables, if it's $1 more per capita, it still would, I guess, prove my claim. It's obviously not $1 more. But the U.S. literally has
a third of
way
national
more
healthcare spending in America is from private insurance.
In like the UK.
45% was public.
Again, doesn't always mean efficient necessarily, but in this context of trying to provide the positive externality of welfare, it is what we are looking for. We're looking for as minimal as possible to a certain threshold with little waste. And what I think we can see is that the government, under this specific framework of negative income tax, has very little deadweight loss from overhead, whereas the private market would have more.
The government spends more money on healthcare than the private sector.
The reason why is because there's a different incentive structure.
So his claims aren't empirically supported.
A public firm, they're not really as incentivized to...
Well, it's not a firm, right? It's a cash transfer. So the really only firm it is would basically be the IRS, and the IRS gives data, and from that data, they just basically give cash transfers to people under a certain income threshold. That's actually about as low as you can get.
In terms of like a state coming in and... But yeah, but then there's the issue of who gets to set which tax rate at what percentage and at what percentage
that's
of
very
income.
little overhead. Right, that's very little overhead. You can basically set it.
Okay, but then you could do the same thing with a private business, and it would probably even have incentivized to have less overhead.
The difference is now there's competing firms with other structures that you need for competition, such as, right, you would need a buffer stock basically if things go bad, right? Oh fuck, no one paid in this month to my private charity. We're about to go under. We're going to foreclose.
Well, they have mutual aid.
Well, no, so the mutual aid for the mutual aid, and then does the mutual aid also have a mutual aid for the mutual aid?
Well, mutual aid is, well, you know what mutual aid is. They have essentially most people
but
who are.
We're talking about a large overhead body of mutual aid doing this, right? So like if I have.
Well, what they could do is they could gather up together and then have an agreement to share resources if one goes under.
Sure. Like this is fine, but then they're not really competitive. You get one board, I guess, under the Sandcap Society now because one fails, so they don't need a buffer stock.
Well, they could have, as opposed to having individual ones, they could have like societies and have competing societies that work together, as opposed to having just individual ones together. Like all you need is, I mean, I'm not even a person that's making profit in the industry, and I can probably think of something up. If people who are making profit or making money in that industry, I'm sure they'll find more clever ways of figuring out than I could ever. But the issue is that the state is, you're not really guaranteed that.
Well, I kind of, there's not much of overhead to a negative income tax, right? There's very little, in fact. The difference here is that, like, let's say it's private government or government society like A, right? And they're the ones doing it through like the voluntary kind of tax thing, like they're taxing businesses based off of like, oh, you can live in this city or whatnot. Is that kind of the thing you're going for, right?
You know, like fractional reserve banks pulling their reserves together in case one fails or something like that. Something similar to that could happen with
like
private businesses who are near each other. They could sort of agree with each other, whereas opposed to having it being like a monopoly, they'll just have multiple competing large ones, and then it'll be simpler. But as opposed to,
so if they're competitive, right? So if they're competing, would you say that A and B are competing?
Mm-hmm.
Why would they help City B?
Well, they could pull their resources together in the hopes that, like, let's say there's another society across the road that, if they have different beliefs, well, then they pull their society.
Okay, so A and B are fine. Let's say C goes under, then what happens there?
Well, I mean,
C's negative income tax fails.
Well, I mean, it may not work for that in that certain situation, but I'm pretty sure you could figure out ways of pulling your money together. Figure out a way of pulling your money together, multiple societies, and making it work. I don't think it's that hard to figure out.
Or what I think will happen is that they'll just take a little bit of money from this as a buffer stock. It's probably a lot more feasible than not doing that, right?
I mean, it could be possible, or they could figure out a profitable way to do it the other way. That's assuming.
That's another thing. They're also profitable, right? That's also in a sense overhead here. Especially if we look at like Minsky's price theory. Like Minsky thinks that profit, right, needs to cover costs, revenue needs to cover cost, as well as the auxiliary cost, which would be things like overhead costs, and then things like auxiliary costs, which is like.
So you're saying it's impossible for a private business to figure out an income tax?
No,
the negative
I didn't say
income
it's
tax.
impossible. I said it's not going to be as efficient as the state.
Okay. I'll deal with that. I could deal with that, I guess.
But I'm probably gonna go to bed. Congrats on 1,000 subs, though.
Yeah, I'm glad you're joining the ANCAPs now. Now that I convinced you that, we could do it in the free market.
Yeah. I'm a big ANCAP. I was super convinced or something like that.
Yeah. See, all your reading didn't really change my view on anything. So
that's cool. That's fine. I don't think there's any way to change your mind. on
Probably
ANCAP,
not.
which is fine.
Good luck to you. I believe
Yeah.
in you. All right, 1,000 subscribers, bitches. Anything you want to say? The Fly? Or ANCAP
Let's
Doggo?
go.
Or William?
Yeah, just fire. Like what?
Seems like all that reading couldn't convince me.
Well, you bro, what's it called? Then why do you debate though? If there's no way to actually convince you of anything,
I mean, you could convince me, maybe.
then how?
I don't know how. It's up to the person. That's up to the convincer.
Mm.
No, I guess I'm just really stubborn. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
When I debate people, it's more just trying to get the ideas out there, really. It's more just like a tactical thing. You know? Debating people makes my YouTube channel get bigger. Yeah.
So this when you argue with people, you're not seeking truth, then, are you?
I mean, yeah, I am. Of course.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
But the issue is, like,
You got the Jeff.
I don't think they're gonna fucking, like, change my mind. That's all I'm saying. Like, of course,
Yeah,
we're
I
all
know.
seeking
I was
truth.
kind of
Yeah.
joking based on the person.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I got the joke. But, oh, yeah, this is, Warmane. And, yeah, Turtle WoW is... Turtle WoW's done. Can't play Turtle WoW anymore. But I'm not gonna pay $15 a month for World of Warcraft because I'm pissed off that they shut down my favorite server, so I'm just gonna play on Warmane and until maybe they shut that place down. I really don't know. We'll see. I hope not. Using copyright. They shut down
Copyright owl.
You will enjoy Warmane. I played here since 2008. I mean, people say it's the best World of Warcraft private server. I mean, it's certainly like the most populated. It's like, there's a lot of people that play on here. So, I like that you could change your XP rating. I got mine at 1 times. So I can, like, enjoy leveling like I normally do.
Yeah, which realm do you play there?
Right now I'm on Ice Crown.
Alright.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm talking to my chat.
Okay.
And on Ice Crown, you could change your XP rates from 1 XP all the way up to 7 XP rates. So if you want to level all the way up to, you know, level 80 really fast, you can do that. Wait, have you ever played World of Warcraft, William?
No.
Oh. You should. It's pretty good.
Don't really play video games very much. Or, like,
You know
basically
what?
at all.
I probably shouldn't recommend World of Warcraft because World of Warcraft is addicting as fuck. And once you get in,
Yup.
it's hard to get out. You know what I mean?
It's exactly the issue I was where I'm like if I start playing video games, like the last thing I need is another habit that distracts me from doing what I need to
Dude,
do.
like World of Warcraft will suck you in and spit
It's
you
like
out.
heroin.
It's like heroin. Yeah, dude, it's like a drug, man. World of Warcraft is like a drug. Just the fucking feelings that you get when you get that piece of armor, or that, you know, the feeling that you get when you kill mobs, or when you go through a dungeon, and like the sense of reward that the game makes you feel. Just leveling up and
Especially the
killing
music
things.
sound FX.
The music, the game. Yeah, exactly. The music of the game sounds good. The game plays really, really well. Even on I'm playing on a private server. A private server is a server in which these people literally like stole the fucking code of the game and they're playing on stolen code. You know what I mean? And they're releasing a stolen version of the game basically. And this game is more functional, this private server, than actual MMOs out there, and has more players than some AAA MMOs out there, which is actually pretty crazy. Like 12,000 players on a single server. There are some MMOs that don't, some like AAA MMOs that don't have that many players. Kind of crazy. Yeah. And then on their Onyxia realm, they have like 12,000 players like all the time too. So that's like 24,000 on those two servers. So like it really goes up to like 36,000 if you count all the servers together. Yeah. The problem.
You're talking to me or the chat?
I'm talking to both of you guys. I'm talking to like both. You know.
Okay.
That's the one thing about World of Warcraft. It's too good.
You can't imagine the player base during COVID, LOL.
Oh my god, I couldn't imagine playing this during COVID. This game would have been full. Completely full during COVID. The realms would have been like, whoo! Yeah, I wasn't playing this during COVID. I only started playing World of Warcraft around the time that I became an ANCAP, actually. Around the time that I became an ANCAP, which was like a year ago.
Oh, okay. Where were you prior to being an ANCAP?
Huh?
Where were you prior to being an ANCAP?
I was just a libertarian.
Okay.
Like, just a milquetoast libertarian. You know? Like a Chicago school, Milton Friedman, Dave Thomas Sowell kind of guy. And then
yeah.
I've
read some of Thomas Sowell stuff.
I love Thomas Sowell. I mean, even to this day.
I have a copy of Disparities and Discrimination, which I read. I think I have another book by him as well. With that one is the one I read fully and paid a lot of attention to.
Yeah, Discrimination and Disparities, his book Basic Economics, I think is still good. Even I recently listened to it again. Wait, I'm gonna ask this guy if I could join his guild. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, Discrimination and Disparities. Black Rednecks and White Liberals I actually really, really liked. Also there was a book that was like a series of collection of his articles that I really liked.
I still wonder how Warmina didn't got closed. Are they paying to Blizz or they are in third world?
I think I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, discrimination and disparities is actually where I first learned about the concept of statistical discrimination. Most didn't call it that, but the concept existed. And I read a critique by an economist. I don't remember what her name was. She wrote a pretty decent paper, kind of criticizing some of Sowell's arguments and assumptions in that one. But yeah, she explained like what statistical discrimination was, and that was like better, proper terminology. I know Sowell called like the non-statistical discrimination taste-based discrimination, but I don't remember what his term for statistical discrimination was. But yeah, it was an interesting. It's a useful concept to be aware of.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's helpful to categorize different kinds of discrimination. Are you familiar with the concept of statistical discrimination?
Not really. I'm gonna answer a question in chat. I wonder why Warmane didn't get closed. Are they paying Blizzard? Are they third world? Probably third world. I highly doubt they're paying Blizzard, because I don't think Blizzard would be okay with that. Personally, I don't think that's the case. Now, I could be wrong. I mean, maybe we could find out later. There's like a leaked shady deal between Blizzard and Warmane that they like did this shit, you know, we found out. I don't personally think that's the case. Probably they just out of their reach. or in some country that's out of their reach. I don't see how they don't know
Is this
about
Warmane?
Yes, this is Warmane. I don't see how they don't know about Warmane because, I mean, Warmane was more popular than Turtle Wow. I think maybe the explanation if I was gonna think with my thinking cap, maybe the explanation might be the reason why is because
I mean Blizz is $1 billion company. I doubt they would need pennies from Warmane.
Yeah, that's also another good point. So another thing that I think might be the reason is because Turtle Wow was a Classic Plus server, and Warmane is not a Classic Plus server, but it is a Wrath of the Lich King private server. So they're not necessarily in direct competition with Blizzard, but then that wouldn't explain why they also shut down Stormforge, right? Or some other 3.3.5 client based World of Warcraft server, so I don't know, I might be wrong on that one. So if I was to think why they're maybe not getting sued, it would probably be, my best guess would probably be the country which they're based in. And maybe the people who are behind Warmane are much more secretive than Turtle WoW is. But I did read this discrimination and disparities, and I did like it. I think it pretty much kind of explains generally like what people should be focusing on is whether or not there is a specific group that actually hates another group, and that's why they're specifically discriminating against
They are
that
probably
specific group.
unreachable to the law. Rumors are that they are hosted from France or
And
Russia.
then that would prove racism, you know what I mean? And I don't think that's impossible. I think that's definitely probably a percentage of that going on. But I think it's a lot less than people make it seem. I would make the argument to address what you just said.
I mean, in regards to statistical discrimination, Sawall didn't use that term, but he acknowledged that category as like a thing. So like essentially, statistical discrimination is sort of like when you're dealing with someone and it's either very costly or just not possible to obtain individual information about them, but you notice, hey, they're in this specific group that on average tends to behave in or be like ways X, Y, and Z, and therefore you use that as kind of like a basis or part of the basis for like making a decision in regards to like how to interact with them.
Yeah.
I can give you concrete examples. So like, for example, a woman like might, if she sees like a man walking by like in the dark, or she might go on the other side of the street because she's like, she doesn't know him individually. She doesn't know, she's not, nor she can't exactly do any kind of test to figure that out. And even in a colloquial sense, she can't do any tests to figure that out. So she recognizes, well, this group is on average more likely to attack me, so I'm probably gonna go. Whereas if it was a woman, I might be less likely to do it. That's sort of like that's an example of it, and I can apply in economics as well. Like if you believe correctly or not that this group is basically on average less likely to work, you might not do it, or if you think this group has like been like basically helped through affirmative action or whatever. I'm not saying it's like a valid argument or if it's correct. I'm just saying it's like the concept that could be in someone's head, and how you address statistical discrimination is very different than how you address quote unquote taste-based discrimination, because like if statistical discrimination, you have to address the incentive or counter it or what have you, or change it. Otherwise, because just telling them that the prejudice is wrong isn't going, or trying to educate them out of the prejudice isn't going to work if it works in general, because that's not why.
This is why I like being an ANCAP. You know why? Because whether or not something should be allowed or not should be allowed isn't determined by this fucking like utility calculation, or whether or not it affects this group of people or that group of people or this and this and that. Like, I don't have to do all this nonsense like that all these other ideologies have to do. Like, to me, it's just like, does it aggress? Yes? No? Okay, then there you go. Like, no?
Well, I mean, there's the ethical question about like whether it's acceptable, or more likely when it's acceptable, when it's not acceptable, which is probably the more reasonable question. There are some situations where it's obviously necessary, but you know, the morality is going to depend heavily on the context.
Yeah, but like if you're gonna have like a
how much harm it
policy
causes.
prescription or whatever, like what'd you say, like, oh, whether or not we should ban affirmative action and this and that, like there's always gonna be those people that have to like go into the
I didn't talk about banning
statistics and see
affirmative
who it
action.
affected and da. Whereas me, like, I don't have to think about all that nonsense. I just be like, oh well, is it aggressive? Yes, no, you know.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
get what I
but
mean?
I wasn't talking about like actual like. I did talk about changing incentives, and yeah, it could theoretically be interpreted as like talking about the state, but it also could apply like, you know, like a higher level of the business to or to people like who are doing a boycott campaign or trying to like figure out how to incentivize one versus the other, or like try to encourage, you know, a company to adopt specific like strategies to get rid of discrimination within it among their workers. You know, if they're going to use statistical or or like they have to figure out, is it statistical discrimination, is it taste-based discrimination, is it some combination of both? What's the effective way to resolve it? That's more of like, but yeah, it'd be harder to do that under ANCAP, but like the question would still be like relevant even when it comes to economics, and also it's not just a thing in economics, it applies to other things as well. But yeah, I mean, there'd be the question like, you know, is like, so it's like I would take the position that affirmative action, like people who equate affirmative action with like standard racism against like African Americans, for example, like segregation, are engaging in a pretty serious false equivalence fallacy, because the harm done is at least typically nowhere near equal, and nor does it appeal to the same kind of like basically hateful, degrading stereotypes that have existed. It's just not. It's a false equivalency. Even though both do treat people differently based on traits they're born with and can't help, there still is like a difference between like doing that and like when you have situations like where people on average much poorer because of previous racism, or insofar as that's the cause. And then even outside of that question is the fact that, like, you know, some groups have been like subjected to just basically like centuries of like extreme dehumanization and discrimination. That's why, like, you know, things like discrimination or even just plain race-based insults appeal to that connotations, whereas like, you know, calling a white person a cracker, or just like not hiring them or like being like less likely to hire them for a job, is generally not going to be as like harmful. And I'm not saying it is necessarily good or bad, but like it's just like trying to equate it is just it's a fallacious comparison that kind of ignores the more complicated nuance, and also ignores the whole argument that like people who are like more left-wing tend to make, that like there has been like a long history of like and even continuing discrimination that like that makes this group on average like less able to like the sort of society is sort of like limiting their ability to get as much opportunity, and therefore like if a business wants to decide to like, you know, try to help improve that through various affirmative action programs, kind of give them a hand up, not a handout, just a hand up, that has a very different like ethical like, you know, evaluation than just like, you know, some business owner deciding, you know, they don't want to hire African Americans because they hold a bunch of like dumb racial stereotypes about them. That's why I'd be like, yeah, I think that is a relevant conversation to engage in. And also even if you're thinking like from like an ANCAP perspective, you might think, you know, how much of a priority is it to like try to like stop the state from, you know, enforcing one or the other. Like, and obviously there's no proposal that's seriously taken by anyone who's remotely mainstream to like enforce segregation, but like, you know, that's why like if someone wants to like, you could argue like, you know, one is like a worse policy, or like obviously the segregation was a worse policy than affirmative action, even if affirmative action was mandated, which obviously affirmative action should not be mandated. It should be something that businesses choose whether or not they do. But yeah, that's the more ethical aspect of it. I don't know if it's technically even be statistical discrimination, but you know, that's kind of like what I would say. Or like I guess like to use like I think that's good enough to like kind of explain like why it's I don't agree with like some of the more mainstream conservative arguments. They just kind of like equate affirmative action with like just like run of the mill like segregationist racism against like African Americans. It's just not an appropriate comparison. It's a false equivalency.
Hell yeah. You're so right.
All right.
Totally agree. 100%.
Yeah, I would add that I don't have a strong opinion even like about like whether affirmative action is actually practically a good idea. As far as I'm concerned, it's mostly like a practical question. That's not about like whether it should be legal, but about like its effectiveness. Because like if the argument some people make is that if you have people who are like basically who have like gotten into an area who are just like on average less qualified or what have you, if you kind of like get them through, that can result in like things like what's it called? A lot of them like say drop like going into a college they're not quite able to get into, and instead of going to a lower college, it'll be more appropriate for their skills. I could kind of see that like line. I've heard some people like Thomas Sowell make that kind of argument. If that argument, I'd have to see to like look more into the data. If that's the case, I would definitely be open to the argument that yeah, that's probably a bad thing. But it's not a matter of like, oh, it's just you can just blatantly equate that to like just like racism, where you're like just refuse to hire African Americans, which is just it's just a false equivalency. But yeah, I think we mostly agree on the topic.
Hell yeah.
More or less.
Yes, I am playing Warmane
Yeah.
because fucking Turtle WoW got shut down. And I'm pissed off about that. I think that if you want to go, if you're really upset about the fact that they shut down Turtle WoW and you want to resubscribe to, Blizzard, I get it. But
Hey, how you doing?
I would consider going to another private server.
Have a good one.
And hopefully
Warminate
that
is
won't
fun.
get shut down.
EXP-X7, it goes so fast.
I'm leveling at 1 XP right now because I want to enjoy the experience. Like, I'm not trying to like fucking rush it. I mean, maybe I should go put it at like 3 times XP. Do you think that would maybe be better? I don't know.
You're talking to me, the other person you're chatting with.
I'm talking to everyone. I'm kind of talking to. I'm talking. Well, I'm not. Well, when I'm talking about the video game, I'm talking to them. But if we're talking about like political stuff, I'm talking.
Yeah,
to
you are right. Nice, have fun, dude.
Yeah, probably. I was like wondering, it's like you guys might have been like wanting
Yeah,
to
so,
have
like,
my advice, and that I was like, I don't know.
Some people in the chat they'll ask me about the video games, which is fine.
Yeah, that too. I imagine some of them I imagine some of them will ask about politics as well.
But yeah, that's what I have to say about that. It really sucks that Turtle WoW got shut down. I'm really pissed off about it. Obviously, there's nothing we can do about it. It sucks, and I'm pissed off. I really hope that wish that it could have stayed. I wish they could have added more to it, but they can't, and it really sucks. I really wish that they didn't shut it down. I wish they would have gotten to an agreement. But all of you people out there who are thinking, hey, I want to run back to Blizzard and go back to their Blizzard servers. Now, if you want to do that, that's up to you, technically. But I think you should just consider going to another private server. Maybe like Warmane or Epoch or something like that. And just keep moving. Now, if you don't want to do that, I get it. But yeah. Feel defeated? I feel defeated too, not gonna lie. I played a lot of Turtle WoW and I really like Turtle WoW. Quite the bummer. Fucking copyright laws. This is why we shouldn't have copyright.
Based.
Copyright.
And even if we were to have it, I mean, at least make it more reasonable. Like, cut the freaking how long people have it for. Have it be like, even if you were to like be a utilitarian, just cut it down to 5 years. It's not going to change the utility that much. Society's going to get from it that much.
I mean, if they could cut it down, that's better than what we currently have. Honestly, like,
yeah. I don't know about like whether or not there's like some level of benefit to it. I know there's arguments about like it, but like, it's like, yeah, we don't need to have this long. And also, in regards to like things like art, who cares?
I don't care.
Like, yeah, our art very well might be crushed by getting rid of copyright. Even I'm not saying it will, but it might be. So what? And art's about to get crushed by AI unless they make more rights violating legislation restricting AI art. But artists are no longer necessary, or not as necessary.
Do I need to buy an etched file in order to do this quest, or isn't it supposed to give me one? Where am I supposed to get the etched file from? Oh, I have to get it somewhere else. Where is that? Show on map. Oh, I gotta kill those things. Okay. I'm an idiot. This is why I have Questy. Because if I did not have Questy, I would be fucked. Yeah, intellectual property, if you guys don't know, should be abolished. Completely stupid. Shouldn't be forced. The idea that you could own the right to a fucking some code that you created, and that means that you could stop other people from copying that code using the state, is ridiculous. If you don't want other people to use your code or your video game or whatever, then don't post it on the internet. The second that you post something on the internet, that thing no longer becomes yours. It's the internet's now, and you can't be upset what they do with it. It's kind of crazy. I see videos where people are like upset at the people who made the Kaizal mod pack, the Kaizal RP private server, for charging people to use it because they're using mods that they didn't create. It's just like, who gives a fuck? Who cares? He put the fucking mod together. He put the mods together. He put the server work together. He did the work to make everything happen. He made it so that you could get everything going in one click. If he wants to charge people to use the fucking server, then so fucking what? But all these people who are like, oh, intellectual property. You know, you can't profit off of a mod. You can't profit off of a work that another person literally ripped off of another person's work. You know, people don't realize a mod is literally you adding work to another person's work. So, and like, you shouldn't be allowed to charge to add work to another person's work. That makes no fucking sense to me. You're putting work into it, and if somebody wants to pay you, who cares? Should modders not be allowed to be paid? It makes no sense to me. Oh, fuck. I need to get out of here. Like, so what? If somebody starts a mod and starts charging people, makes a modded server of another person's game, and then charging people to play on it, I think that's perfectly fine. Who gives a fuck? And of all the people who are acting like they care, you really don't. It's all just people trying to stand on their high horse. Because like, if charging a person to play on a mod that you've created is wrong, then why should it be okay to charge a person to charge a person to play the video game in the first place? Are you not charging them because that person put a bunch of work into it and you're paying them for that work they put into it? Is it not the same reasoning? And so what if they created the idea first? Should now every other person be stopped from now using that idea because that person created it first and they're not getting paid some money?
I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, like whenever someone uses like, the Pythagorean theorem to do construction work, they better find Pythagoras' descendants and like pay them up.
Yeah. Does not also apply to
for using
math
his intellectual
too?
property.
Yeah. How many of these fuckers do I have to kill? Oh! I got it. Okay. It doesn't go away after you kill them a bunch of times. You have to get the file, take it to the thing, then do it. Got you. It's me learning World of Warcraft quests. They're not as simple as they make it seem. Sometimes you actually have to read. And, but yo, I like to take a slow journey, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's 112. Sorry, I'm multitasking here.
It's 212 where I'm at. And I feel great. Honestly, Warmane is pretty damn good. Even though I'm pretty upset that Turtle Wild got shut down.
What's your favorite race?
I like the trolls. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're my favorite race in the game. I just like the way that they look, honestly, and the way they walk around, and the way that they're like big ass fucking like hulking ass like dudes, but they're tall as hell, and they kind of and I liked how their big ass teeth and big ears and really tall, and I like the way that when he swings, how he spins around and is like, it's kind of flimsy. I don't know. I think it's cool. Just the way that they move around and shit. World of Warcraft is just... The problem with World of Warcraft, it is too fucking good. It is too perfect. It is so good that no other fucking MMO, even modern ones, are able to capture what World of Warcraft has done. I don't even play MMOs. I don't play any other MMOs.
I like female orcs.
A lot of people love female orcs, I noticed that. I think the reason why is the way that they stand. They stand kind of like this, and when you put the armor on their head, they don't really look like a female. And they have like this tough stance, but their body isn't like gigantic like the male orcs. Because the male orcs are like, and they're like hunched over. Whereas the females, they're kind of stood up and they have their arms kind of like this. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So I think that's the main reason why a lot of people like the female orcs, because the males are like this. They're like hunched over. And they're big ass. And they're brolic as shit. And that's also probably why the main reason why like a lot of people like the female night elves as opposed to the male night elves, because the night elves, the female night elves, are much more like, they just look, their animations
You
just
do a
look way
perfect
cooler.
impression of every race. Haha.
Whereas the men, they're kind of just like, they're like very like, hey, I know what's up, man. Whereas the women, they're very like, and they're very flamboyant, and the way they stab, they're like this. Whereas the men, they're very like, it's kind of basic. Whereas the women, they have like a little bit more to their animations. Especially like the front flip that the males do versus the female front flip. Like the male trolls, like the way that they fight, I think they look cool the way that they fight. Like I'm about to fight a boss right now. I'm about to show ya. Wait, you know what? Why am I walking? This is what happens when you play too much classic. Or, you know, vanilla WoW.
Do the spinning elbow, haha.
The spinning elbow? Oh, I can't. I like it when he does the power attack and he kind of just spins around. And like how flimsy that they are. He's like... He's not like punching him. He's more like... Well, Liam, you can't see what I'm doing because I'm like... But... Yeah. How do I get up this thing? I just don't want to aggro anything over here. And... Fuck it. Laughing sister. Oh, I'm gonna have to kill these. The one, oh, bro. I do like that Wrath of the Lich King definitely has more abilities and like, but then I also kind of like having less abilities. Like, less is more a little bit. You know what I mean? I just felt like some classes had too little abilities in some aspects. Like the Red Paladin, definitely.
Yeah, that's why I'm more into TBC.
The Burning Crusade, huh? I have not touched Burning Crusade Classic. I know, like, I don't even want to try it. Like, because I don't want to get addicted, and I don't want to continue playing on Blizzard servers. So I'm just gonna stay where I'm at. So far, I've been having a lot of fun with Wrath of the Lich King and its leveling. And honestly, that's really what I care about. I don't even know how to fucking raid. I've never done a raid before, really. Like a full-on raid. Successfully. I like doing dungeons, though. That's always fun. I paid for the War Within expansion and I didn't even get to the end game. That shows you how much I didn't even play it. And I can't even play it anymore. Is he punching me? Yeah, so I'm playing on a free World of Warcraft private
Same
server.
here, I avoid raids. I never have time to spend hours in a raid. I much prefer dungeons. He bid, haha.
Yeah. Real shit. So I don't even have to pay for the subscription anymore. You don't have to pay for the subscription now. You could play World of Warcraft pretty much for free. But it's the older versions. But there are some like recent versions that people have came out with. Like I know there's like one that's like Stormforge, if I'm not mistaken, that they have like a War Within coming out, and they also have another one. They had a Dragonflight DLC coming out. This is reason it's Dragonflight. That's pretty crazy. I don't know how they're able to pull that off.
The older, the better.
Yeah, personally, I think the older the better, too. I think Wrath of the Lich King for me is kind of the sweet spot right now. I don't even really know what to do at endgame, I'll be honest with you. Do you?
Same here, I am not going any further than Wrath.
I tried Cataclysm, I just don't like it. It's too fast. Too fast paced. Doesn't feel, and the Paladin, when they added the 3 thing, where you have to go up to 3 and then it, like, I just feel like you're adding more on top of what was already fine. You know what I mean? Why? Why make it more complicated? And then they took away the old world. Got one. All right, I got him at least. Keeper Odaris. I just gotta run back to my body and retrieve that loot, hopefully, and I'll be good. I did that by myself, bitches. Yeah, I'm really into the World of Warcraft private server scene. Also, like, I watch a lot of Matrix. I don't know if you guys... I love that YouTuber. He's like, he's my favorite YouTuber that talks about private servers. Love that guy. Every time he posts a video, I watch it.
Exactly. Back then I was playing Apollo as main. When Cataclysm came out, I gave up on it and switched to a priest.
Yeah. They added too much to something that was already good. They tried to reinvent the wheel. What they should have done was kept it the way it was and just tweaked it. Maybe I could have used demoralizing shout.
Haven't you tried the dungeon tool yet?
Yeah, but it's not finding dungeons very fast for me. But I think the main reason is because it's like it's almost 3 in the morning, so it's kind of like off peak hours right now. If it was like earlier in the daytime, I'd probably ping much faster. Ooh, yo. That was close as fuck. Yo, follow me on Discord, KingSithis. Or King_Sithis. If you want to play with me. Me and my painted nails. Compliment them.
I just realized I hadn't turned my volume off.
I didn't really hear anything.
I was typing.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't hear anything.
Nice color.
I was doing some quotes from my I was typing a quote from my what's it called? Future Substack current in Google Doc.
I'm sure you're doing a great job. I believe in you.
I mean, I'm just transmitting what George Burrell Sheaver brilliantly wrote down a couple hundred years ago. So, yeah. This is actually going to be another argument that Rothbard anticipated, but or had a somewhat similar idea too. Not sorry, well, it wasn't really anticipation because Sheaver said it first, but you know, I don't think he read Sheaver, so you know, Sheaver's. Yeah.
I just need one of the war song supplies. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's pretty much that. Oh, that's a dungeon quest, huh? So I need to finish dungeon to do that one. It looks like there's one last quest over here. How do I get over there? Probably following this road. Wait, is this a... Do I need to kill 12 of these? Nice. Got a new piece of feet. The problem with World of Warcraft again is that it's too good. Are there any other good MMOs, honestly? I don't think there are. I've tried them. Other ones. The only other one that I think is maybe kind of good is like ESO. But it's still not good as World of Warcraft.
There's nothing better 100%.
Yeah. I mean, I tried so hard to like SWTOR, Star Wars The Old Republic, MMO. I tried so hard to like that game. But it just was not. This was not clicking. The combat is just too sluggish, too overcomplicated, too much buttons. It's like with a lot of these MMOs, they try to overcomplicate shit too much. You know? Classic WoW was like the most simplest MMO ever. You only needed to press like 2-3 buttons. With these new games, you have to press 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, like. Like, are we playing a video game or are we playing a math equation here? Are we going to college? Like, I'm trying to play a video game. No, but it's like so true though. Like, people overcomplicate shit too much. Some games. Like, Star Wars The Old Republic looks like a single player game. Make it play like a single player game. Why do you have to make it play like the most complicated MMO ever? Why do I have to have like more than 20 abilities? Like 20, 30, 40 abilities? Why? Most Jedis, like, what the fuck? What most can they do? They could fucking swing a fucking lightsaber and go bzzz with their fucking hands and shit and throw shit around, like, turn that into a few abilities and that's it. Don't need to overthink it. They need to trim shit down. That's what they need to do with these fucking games, man. With these MMOs, they need to trim the fat. What's up, Cam?
Yeah.
I'm here complaining about
Good
MMOs.
Right there.
All right. I'm gonna turn this quest in, and then I think I'm gonna call it a night, cause you know.
What happened earlier when I didn't see like I was only here for a little bit, like Jerkman and God Gift him, and like what, like how did that end? Like I don't.
It mostly
You
went
guys like
well.
talking about econ or something? Huh?
He was talking about how like a negative income tax is good for the poor because of, I don't know. He was rattling on about it. And then I basically made the point that why couldn't we do that on a private market? And then he basically made the argument that it's just less likely to be as good as a state or whatever. And that's kind of what it came
Yeah, I
down
remember
to.
people saying something like that.
hmm I mean, you know, obviously I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, that's the gist of what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And NIT, I think that's what he calls it, negative income tax. But to me, if it was done by a private business, it would just be charity. And that's where mutual aid and all that other stuff comes in. So then really, it really comes down to like, oh, he just thinks the state is better or more efficient and whatever. Which I'm not sure.
I don't understand like why, like, because the state is a monopoly. Like I don't know why like this kind of monopoly, like we would expect it to like do this negative income tax whatever better. It's not like the government's just like a really good business or something. Like that's not why the government is so big or like, so it's not like the idea is like, oh, the government's just like such a good sort of, well, I guess he is saying something like the government's just such a good organization that it can do this like very economically efficiently for some reason. But I mean, given that it's a monopoly, it seems like a problem. That's my first kind of like thoughts on that. But I don't know. I don't really like do the econ stuff that much. I mean, I don't know. If
But
he was
he's
just,
always like, oh, you don't know anything about economics. I find that to be annoying. So. And he only does that because I'm a disagreement.
Was a.
Was that? Wait,
I don't know. Did he actually say why he doesn't think like you know economics very well, or like I just heard him keep saying that like he doesn't think you.
He just objected. He just kept saying it over and over. I don't really know.
I don't know. I don't really care that much about the economics of a negative income tax, to be honest. But that's
me neither, man. I'll be. I could truly care less. I just want to not be robbed. I just want to not be robbed by the state. I just want to live my life and be free.
Fair enough.
You know, is that too much to ask?
Of this world, maybe.
Apparently,
it's not your fault.
Being left alone is too much to ask. I have to be forced by the state to accept this bullshit.
It's for the public good, or something. I don't know.
I want to recommend you to play World of Warcraft at the private server that I'm on, but then I'm afraid to do that because I feel like you're gonna like it a lot, and then you're gonna get addicted, and you're gonna be like me. You know what I mean? It's like me introducing someone to heroin. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's all fun and games once that addiction hits. Anyways, you should play Warmane. It's pretty dope. Wait, why does this have two names? Guys. Oh, that's a bug?
Blood and thunder.
Is there two guys in one right there? Oh, there's a female behind the male orc. And they're together, connected.
Greetings.
Bro, I hated how they came in here earlier and derailed the conversation into economics, bro. Come on, bro.
That's kind of what... Well, God's Gift was actually kind of on my side. Was actually on my side.
About negative income tax?
Yeah, the whole time, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, it was annoying that they derailed the conversation.
It was,
like,
it was mostly
in the middle of
the other
talking,
guy.
They came in and wrecked it.
I mean, I was just trying to talk about like, or we were talking about like argumentation ethics a little bit, and like, self-ownership, and then they came in and immediately, I don't even remember what happened. One of them was like, I don't know. I don't remember what happened.
You know
Like,
what? I
started
might as
pivoting.
well.
I was talking about how I was reading Stefan Kinsella's book on like libertarian legal
Yeah.
theory. And I was talking about I'm reading the section on like what's it called? Causation
Causation
and
or something?
responsibility. No, causation and responsibility. And he was saying, "Oh, don't read ANCAPs. It's gonna make you like get this wrong and blah blah blah." And like then he started going on with the economic shit, and yeah, it derailed the whole conversation.
Yeah, I kind of
Bruh,
liked
it's
what
'cause
we
he
were talking
doesn't-
about before.
I mean, I don't know. I think like he wait. So he first said that rhetorical thing, and then he probably derailed it because he knows more about economics. So I guess he wanted to go there. Okay.
All those books didn't convince me otherwise.
Wait, what?
No, because he kept like saying, "Oh, I've read so
What's
many
he say?
books. I've read so many books. I read all these books." I was just like, it seems like all those books didn't really convince me otherwise. Reading all those books didn't make it so that you could convince me.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying.
I don't know. I don't really understand like the whole I think he called it gloating, which it definitely is. Like even if they don't like want to accept it, or like if it's like or sort of like implied, it's like the whole like posturing of like, oh, Sithis, you don't know that much, and then sort of like at least vaguely gesturing at this like or at them like being more educated on the being more read, and it's like I do not care.
I'm trying to fucking. I want to watch the Michael Jackson movie. Like fuck.
What's the Michael Jackson movie?
You don't
The
know
new?
Michael Jackson?
I know who Michael Jackson is. What do you mean the Michael Jackson movie?
They came out with a new movie of Michael Jackson. It's a biopic. You didn't know it was coming out this weekend? It came out this weekend? It's huge.
No.
Yeah, bro.
No.
Look it up. It's huge. Just look up, go on YouTube and look up Michael Jackson trailer or whatever.
No, I believe you. I think I might have seen something about it. I don't.
No,
I don't.
No, it looks really good. I like Michael Jackson. I was about to say, you don't know Michael Jackson. Come on.
No,
man.
no. Of course.
Michael Jackson is like huge, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, they just came out with a biopic. Some people are saying it's not good. The critics are saying it's not good. Other people are saying the people who like it, who normally watch it, like really like it. Audience, there you go. Audience, critics. Some critics are saying like, oh my god, it's bad. And then the audience is saying like, oh my god, it's really good. So, I don't know. I'm gonna go watch it. I'm gonna see if it's good. I hope it's good.
Guess we'll see. I don't really know that much about Michael Jackson's life. So.
Dude, Michael Jackson was like his Thriller album was the biggest. I mean, even to this day, if I'm not mistaken, it's the biggest album.
I know who Michael Jackson is.
No, I'm not saying you don't know Michael Jackson. I'm just saying like, I'm just saying in general. I'm not trying to like throw anything in your face. I'm just saying like, even to this day, I'm not mistaken, his Thriller album is still the biggest album ever sold. Yeah. And yeah, I'm pretty sure even to this day, his Thriller album is still the biggest album ever sold. At his time, like he was huge. But now, not so much. Now, like, people don't really know much about him as much. But for his time, he was extremely huge. It's kind of like the Beatles. At their time, at their peak, they were huge. Like, big, way bigger than anyone preceding them. Like, in terms of, like, numbers. But then after a while, they kind of, like, you know, they broke up and all that. But yeah, I think Michael Jackson was innocent. All those people who said that shit about Michael Jackson, I think he was innocent, bro. I think it was, all those people were like, I think they were just trying to, like, get money out of him. And,
people who said he, like, did inappropriate things with them
Yeah.
when they were children.
Because I think it's just like I think it's too convenient that like when they grow older and you know they stop receiving things from him, that now all of a sudden like he's this, you know what I mean? But and he was innocent, and he was found innocent by the court. So I'm pretty sure. No, I feel like he's innocent.
Okay. I mean, I've heard like a little bit about that story. I don't really know like details, so. But as for like what you're saying about like when they're older, like they say something. I mean, I'm sure there are many instances of like people like coming out about like some or with allegations against some person like many years after. So I don't know if I'd be willing to like discount.
No, I'm not saying I'm just saying that there's some there's some like what you call it, a level of deniability, I guess you could say, in there, you know. Like you can't just take their word for granted. Like you need more of the evidence. You know.
I mean, I agree with that.
Yeah. Because there's like all the motive to lie, you know, in a situation like that. So, not saying they did, but I mean, I don't know. But I just feel like he was innocent, but I could be wrong.
Hopefully, he was.
Hope he was innocent. Is there not a inn? Yeah, there's an innkeeper right here. But anyways, I'm gonna head to bed, guys. So I hope you have a good one, and thanks for hanging out with me on my 1,000 subscriber special. And thank you guys in the audience for hanging out.
Congratulations again.
Yeah. You know, thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you guys another time. Have a good night, guys. And have a good night to you. And thank you guys for subscribing and watching my videos and watching me debate people and watching me play World of Warcraft.
Good night, CYA.
Have a good night. See you too.